Pre-game coverage starts at 7. Gonzaga knows who they'll be playing in the NCAA tournament, taking on number 6 Seton Hall Thursday night. Our pre-game coverage starts at 6. If the Bulldogs beat number 6 Seton Hall, they'll take on either number 3 Utah or number 14 Fresno State. NIT is the other basketball tournament going on around this time. UW been picked as the number 3 seed. They'll host Long Beach State tonight at 6 in Seattle. In other sports, the Trailblazers lost to Oklahoma City 128-94 last night. Seahawks signed a tackle and a defensive tackle to one-year contracts. Those were the first outside signings after they had re-signed some folks last week, including Jeremy Lane, Jermaine Kearse, and punter John Ryan. And the reigning Iditarod Trail Dog Sled Race champion Dallas Seavey is leading the 2016 Race Mushers as they move up the Bering Sea coast. Looking at the Shelton High School varsity sports schedule, it's opening day for baseball against Yelm at the Shelton Baseball Field, 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, Squim comes to Shelton, and Thursday is the start of Fast Pitch against Bremerton. Many of these games could be impacted by the weather. And here with the forecast at 6:11, here's Carol Gardner.
Scattered rain showers in the South Sound area, but it'll decrease as we go through the day. Highs will be in the upper 40s and the low 50s. There's still a winter weather advisory until noon in the Cascades. Several inches of snow fell overnight, and it's slowing down, but the passes will be messy today. The good news is that the region's weather will be improving in the next few days with drier, warmer weather, more sunshine, and highs in the mid to upper 50s. Right now, it's 36 in Shelton.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
And good morning to you. 6:11 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and NFL Now update for you as we had some Seahawks signings in the news. Dan Griffey today, 35th District Representative, heading back to Olympia as the legislative session continues. Carol, it was you said 60-day session, 30-day? Session yesterday?
30-day session.
So they're already 6 days into it, and we'll talk with Dan Griffey, 35th District Rep, at 7:15. There's the Evergreen Elementary Science Fair that's upcoming, and at 7:45, we'll learn more about that one. Arlen Morris and the Harstein Island Speaker Series will come by the station, find out who the next speaker will be to talk about that. And Environmentally Sound today, happy to have from Taylor Shellfish, Bill Dewey. That's wrapping up the show at 8:45. March is Nutrition Month, and this Thursday we'll talk with Jeannie Raywalt at 7:45 about nutrition in the schools, the SNAP Ed program, and other things that are going on there. And we've got some new citizen editorials written on the website. Richard Barnes writes one, Politics in the 21st Century, and Kelly McIntosh writes one called The Growing Price of Jail. Coming up in the news for you, we had some big storms over the weekend, and the Better Business Bureau is out with some information to keep you alert. And the Supreme Court is to hear arguments this morning on the Tax Limiting Initiative 1366.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
I'm Ari Wolf with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. NFL media columnist Michael Silver reported that things are very quiet on the Colin Kaepernick trade front, with the Broncos holding firm in their belief that Kaepernick is worth a fourth-round pick. The 49ers have until April 1st before $12 million of Kaepernick's salary is guaranteed for 2016. Veteran safety Eric Weddle agreed to terms with the Ravens on a 4-year deal. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported it's a $26 million contract with $13 million in guarantees. Packers defensive tackle B.J. Raji released a statement Monday saying that he is taking a hiatus from the game. Raji saying, quote, "This decision was made after hours of conversation with close family members and mentors." He also said that he cannot rule out a return to the NFL in the future, but will definitely not be playing during the 2016 season. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Any Jane Doe can tell you that Geico could help you save. But since money talks, we just ask the savings instead.
Greetings and sun salutations. I'm Jane's Money. And I never knew my self-worth until Jane switched her car insurance at Geico.com. Those 15 minutes built me up to real savings. Geico's been helping customers save money like me for over 75 years. So take that to the bank. And namaste.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Platinum is a word reserved for premium products. Hence why you've never seen platinum corn dogs or platinum toothpicks. So you know Pennzoil Platinum is the good stuff. And now Napa's got Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil for just $5.29 a quart. Plus, buy 12 quarts, you get $2 per quart back by mail. For just $5.29 a quart, you'll get premium oil for a corn dog price. That's Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer expires 3/31/16.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
$6:15 at iFIBER One News Radio, and a good morning to you. I'm Jess Lakey, along with Carol Gardner, and checking out news of notes from around the Northwest and locally. City of Shelton sent out some information.
Yeah, the City of Shelton sent out a press release, and they let us know that their contractor, Tapani Incorporated, has completed 90% of the underground utility work for the road project at Pioneer Way from University Ave to Harvard Avenue and Lake Boulevard from Arcadia Avenue to Wyoming Avenue. And the contractor's next step is to install curb, gutters, sidewalk, and new road. There's still detours in place for routing the traffic, and with this new project section or part of the project, there's going to be a lot of truck traffic and construction noise. There's going to be barricades and flaggers, and the city wants you to be alert and obey all construction signs and flaggers. They know it's going to be really difficult and hectic, and they're thanking everyone in advance for their patience and apologizing for any inconvenience. And if you want any information, contact the city's engineering department.
Well, yeah, I see those folks working hard throughout the day on the way home, and pretty good stuff there. Shelton Rotary had its annual White Elephant auction near the end of February, about the 25th. They raised nearly $2,000 toward their annual Christmas giving program. The program assists local families who otherwise would not be able to afford gifts. So good on them, and congratulations to the Shelton Rotary.
And some news coming out of our new business that we have in Washington. New, it's like 2 or 3 years old, but people still are sort of surprised that we still actually have legal marijuana in the state. But if you've ever been into a retail marijuana store, you might have noticed there's some tip jars. And after receiving several inquiries to the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board, they decided that they better check it out and clarify their policy. Mm-hmm. Tipping is allowed in licensed retail marijuana stores. In the beginning, it wasn't allowed. The thinking was that if you tipped your local bud tender, then you got a discount.
Your what?
Bud tender is what they call them. The people behind the
bud tender. Okay.
Bud tender. People behind the counter. So the thinking is if you tipped the person behind there, you got a discount on your product, and the business did not have to pay as much in taxes because they're just getting cash.
Oh, yeah.
They're not showing the sale, the amount of the sale. So now LCB says there's been some newer modified tax structures with this whole marijuana pricing, and this is not really a problem anymore. They say tipping is fine, but can't be required, nor can be linked to the price of the product to avoid the tax obligations. And they want to remind everybody that tips can also be considered income and taxed by the state.
The bud tenders
or
themselves.
By the feds, actually. Yeah. Yes. Like if you're a waitress, your tips are now considered taxes. And not by the state, by the feds, because we don't.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, something to watch out for if you go into one of those legal recreational stores.
Tomorrow night's the last of the Empty Bowls 3-week session. 11th annual Shelton Arts Commission Empty Bowls event culminates with a delicious meal and viewing of everybody's creative bowls. From 5 to 7 tomorrow night, everyone's invited to head on down to the Civic Center, and you'll be able to make a donation and check out some of the breads and soups from Zinn's or The Strip or Sisters, and bread by Olympic Bakery and Deli, and it is to fight hunger and helps out Saints Pantry. So that's again tomorrow from 5 until 7.
And there's another new program in Washington. This one collects compact fluorescent lamps and other mercury-containing lights. And it's reported that Washingtonians have recycled more than 1 million of these types of lights since the Light Cycle Washington program launched January 1st, 2015. And Light Cycle's goal is to get all mercury-containing lights out of the environment. Peter Thermos, the program manager for the Light Cycle Washington, said the program got off to a really great start, but he knows there's a lot more mercury-containing lights still out there. And most people don't know that fluorescent lights and CFLs contain mercury. And although those lights only have a small amount of mercury, the millions of lights used in Washington have potential to harm the environment if not properly recycled. So you can recycle fluorescent tubes, compact fluorescent lamps, and high-intensity discharge lamps, and other mercury-containing lights. There's over 220 sites in Washington. And to find a site near you, you can go to lightcycle.org, enter your city or zip code, and find out where you can drop these off.
I knew that the long tubes, we don't have any in here, but the long fluorescent tubes, I feel like I knew that those had mercury. I was not, those compact fluorescent ones, I did not know that. Because that's why you can't just throw them in the trash.
Right. They would rather not have you do that.
Why did they make such a big push for us to switch to all those if they...
Well, why did they do anything and then they realized it was a dumb idea?
6:21 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
iFIBER Communications, the fastest internet provider in Washington State, has just opened their doors here in Mason County and got their first local customers signed up. James, tell me about your experience.
From the first time I learned of iFIBER to the day I got hooked up, even now, I felt that my fiber connection and the service given to me have been the #1 most important job to every member of the iFIBER team. And not just because I was first in line with my nose pressed up to the glass waiting for a company to take my money.
What differences have you noticed?
I get what I pay for. With non-fiber solutions, you're paying up to the top and never get a constant number anywhere near that top. With fiber, you certainly do. With iFIBER, you get it at a competitive and affordable price.
Why should others sign up for iFIBER Internet?
Well, iFIBER has made a commitment to Mason County. They're working hard to bring fast speeds to everyone at an affordable price. And now with phones and television, your bill will be all in one place with no hidden fees or sudden price changes to surprise you month to month like other all-in-one service providers.
Get signed up for iFIBER Communications today by calling 360-427-4000 or visit iFIBER.tv for more information.
You know, this is a good time to subscribe to the Journal. Most importantly, you get a great local newspaper. We were voted the best mid-sized weekly newspaper in the state, which helps you stay connected to your community. And then there is the fact that subscription rates remain low while individual paper prices are increasing for 2016. You can save as much as $40 this year with your subscription. Quality, convenience, and low price. The Journal gives you all that every week. Call 426-4412 or go to masoncounty.com.
Habitat for Humanity of Mason County invites you to shop their local retail stores in Belfair and in Shelton. At Habitat for Humanity stores, you'll find amazing bargains on discounted home improvement supplies, gently used furniture, and so much more. And when you shop Habitat for Humanity, your dollars are put to work helping to improve, build, and maintain affordable housing right here in Mason County. Habitat for Humanity. Let's build a strong community together.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
6:23 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Good morning to you. Last week on Friday, did you guys talk about IRS tax scams? Got a phone call from somebody who was listening in and they got a call or something saying they were being sued by the IRS. And the IRS does not do these things. So in addition to these tax scams that are going around, because tax day is fast approaching, we have another potential scam we want to let you know. The weekend windstorms caused major damage, knocked out power, downed trees, and killed a person in Seattle. The Better Business Bureau now wants us to be aware of something else that blows in here with these storms. Scam artists, Carol, looking to profit on others' misfortunes. These door-to-door folks that come by and say, hey, I notice your gutter is off. I can fix that for you. Or, hey, boy, we had a windstorm. Let me help you clean up things. And these low prices and deals that seem better than expected oftentimes are. So door-to-door sales folks with home and low repairs, they don't have oftentimes the proper registration, the training, the licenses. You can research contractors at bbb.org. Also, it is okay to ask for references if they come at you with a pretty hot and heavy sales pitch at the front door and you're not comfortable making a decision right there, or you don't want to just jump into something that you're not quite sure. Take a breath. Say, hey, why don't you give me your business card and I'll call you when I have a chance to sit down and think about these. If when in the course of conversation the answers you get appear a little vague, could be an answer that there is some suspicious stuff going on here. Professionals know the answers to the questions you have, or they know how to get the answers to you. So make sure that you don't feel pressured. Don't just commit to these things because scammers will come and they'll take advantage, Carol. They take advantage of people.
That they do.
It's a Super Tuesday, the second Super Tuesday here, and your voice, your vote, as all eyes are on Ohio.
Your voice, your vote. The Buckeye State is the scene of a pitched battle today between Ohio Governor John Kasich.
Ohio should send the message to the country.
And New York billionaire Donald Trump, his rival for the Republican presidential nomination.
Kasich cannot make America great again.
Ohio is a major prize in today's primary voting. A win for Trump could seal his nomination. A Kasich victory might mean it's all settled at the convention. In Florida, Trump is comfortably leading in the polls. ABC's Alex Stone is there.
We have seen a bit of a change in tone during his campaign rallies on Monday. Trump did not say anything like he wanted to punch protesters. He still says the media has been unfairly covering the protests, but he also seems to be hearing the criticism.
Ohio and Florida are the big prizes for the Democrats as well.
Hillary Clinton leads Bernie Sanders by more than 600 delegates going into mini Super Tuesday voting. Tonight's results will put the delegate allocation at just over 2,300, about halfway through the nomination process. Ryan Burrow, ABC News, South Florida.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
627 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and big results tomorrow. We'll have them for you here on iFIBER ONE News Radio and Daybreak, getting ready with Overnight America tonight, starting at 10, just after Mariners baseball. Do you think Kasich has a shot in Ohio to take on Trump, or what's going to happen, do you think, today?
I honestly, I don't know. I really don't think so. It's hard to say, but I mean, even if he does, I don't think it's going to matter.
Trump rolls.
Yeah.
He wins up Florida. Looks like all the notes I'm seeing are a Florida win, putting it likely out of hand.
Steamroller.
His steamroller, indeed. There's a Supreme Court hearing this morning, and they'll hold oral arguments on the appeal of the ruling that struck down Initiative 1366. If you remember, this is the tax limiting initiative approved by us voters last year. And this is 2 months after a King County judge has struck down the initiative, saying it is unconstitutional, saying it was a thinly disguised effort to propose a constitutional amendment, which can't be done by initiative in Washington, and that it also violated the rule that initiatives be limited to a single subject. Voters last fall narrowly approved 1366, which would cut the sales tax by 1 percentage point beginning on April 15th, unless lawmakers allow a public vote on a constitutional amendment that would require a 2/3 supermajority in the legislature for future tax increases. We had talked early in the session with the other 35th District Representative, Drew McEwen, who we'll speak with yesterday. He didn't think that this was going to play out at all. I think he felt the King County judge made sense in this, that you can't do these two things at once. And so we'll see what happens, though. Oral arguments by the state Supreme Court this morning at about 9 o'clock. Marilyn Foster coming up in a few moments, but Troy Kelly again in the news today.
Yeah, he's been all over the news. Possession of stolen property, money laundering, lying under oath, and tax offenses. These are some of the charges for Washington Auditor Troy Kelly. He's the first state official in 35 years to be indicted as jury selection for his federal trial, and it starts today. The 51-year-old Democrat from Tacoma hopes of convincing juror that the $1.4 million he's accused of stealing before he was in office wasn't stolen at all. Prosecutors say he pocketed fees that he should have returned to thousands of homeowners. But Kelly's lawyer insists that his client was entitled to keep the money. The trial is scheduled to last 4 weeks.
6:30 at iFIBER One News Radio. Marilyn Foster has more news for you. ABC checks the latest in sports. We'll come back with the Mariners' scores from yesterday and where we find Gonzaga in the tournament.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Local news brought to you by the Lucky Eagle Casino. Visit online at luckyeagle.com.
From the iFIBER One News Radio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Last week, we learned that a state-of-the-art Sierra Pacific Industries sawmill could be running earlier than expected. Initially, they were hoping to get it done in mid-2017, and now it looks like first quarter 2017 is very doable. Mason County Economic Development Council Director Lynn Longan and Lisa Perry from Sierra Pacific Industries told Daybreak why the operation is ahead of schedule.
I think everybody's been working hard to get this done. We've been working with Lynn at the EDC. We've been working with the chamber. The city's been really good.
Senator Sheldon and I arranged a meeting with the Department of Ecology, and we brought in the governor's office of regulatory assistance and innovation. And since then, they've appointed a person to Sierra Pacific. So made the connections in the beginning to hopefully help them keep moving. And again, they've got a representative from the governor's office that helps them.
Yeah, and we all knew each other from the beginning, all the regulators, all the everyone. I mean, we're working with, 8 different agencies and 16 different permits. So it's been a lot of work, but everybody wants to get those jobs back in this community, and everybody wants to do it right.
This would be SPI's 4th mill in Washington, and they've also announced that Shelton will be home for a truck and a fabrication shop as well, which will add more employees to their totals of close to 200. Hear more in the full interview on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. Hagen and Albertsons announced yesterday that of the 29 remaining Hagen stores, 15 will remain that brand, while the other 14 will be converted to the Albertsons brand. In the South Sound, one Olympia and one Auburn store will remain as Hagen, while the Lakewood and second Olympia store will be Albertsons. They say the conversion of stores to Albertsons will be done over time. A reminder from the Washington State Department of Revenue, businesses and consumers can expect to see bumps in their sales tax rates on purchases starting Friday, February 1st. In Shelton, a new transportation benefit district will add 0.2% in sales tax, bringing the rate here to 8.8%. The tax is expected to bring in $400,000 in revenues annually to fund transportation improvements. All across Washington state, Democrats will come together on March 26th to caucus for their preferred presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, or even declare they're undecided. Washington state's allocation of 119 delegates and 7 alternates will go to the National Convention in Philadelphia on July 25th. Voting is limited to registered voters who declare themselves to be Democrats and those who will be eligible to vote in the general election on November 8th. Learn more on the political page at iFiber1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
I'm attorney Harold Carr. During the past 25 years, more than 8,000 people have trusted me to handle their personal injury cases. I understand how an injury can disrupt your life and cause financial hardship for you and your family. At the law firm of Harold Carr, we have 5 attorneys and 19 staff members experienced with negotiating and litigating with insurance companies. So if you feel the insurance company is not dealing with you fairly, call me, Harold Carr. Let us deal with the insurance company so you won't have to.
Car accident? Call Carr or visit us online at haroldcarrattorney.com.
Piece of cake for the Warriors star. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Packer reporting on sports. Steph Curry celebrated his 28th birthday in fitting fashion.
Up fake, goes to Curry, fadeaway three. Why not?
Tim Roy on KNBR as Curry's 27 points led the Warriors to an easy win over the Pelicans, a record 49th straight regular season home victory. In Toronto, the Raptors can't seem to figure out the Bulls.
Fagan away left block, the kick out McDermott, left wing three. Yes!
On WMVP, Doug McDermott scored 29 points off the bench as the Bulls beat the Raptors for the 9th straight time. Mirza Teletovic hit a three with 1.2 seconds left to lift the Suns over the Timberwolves. Russell Westbrook posted a triple-double in the Thunder's win. The Jazz took down the Cavs, and the Rockets clobbered a depleted Grizzlies squad 130-81. In college, play-in games will kick off the big dance. Florida Gulf Coast against Fairleigh Dickinson, while Vanderbilt goes head-to-head with Wichita State. Kentucky head coach John Calipari has taken issue with the bracket, criticizing the process after the Wildcats were seated lower than Texas A&M, the team they beat that day for the SEC title. Kentucky Athletic Director Mitch Barnhart is echoing those frustrations, calling for more NCAA transparency. In women's college hoops, UConn earned the first overall seed in the tournament. The undefeated Huskies are hoping to claim a record 4th consecutive championship. Rounding out the number 1 seeds were South Carolina, Notre Dame, and Baylor. Turning to football, the NFL has made a surprising admission.
It came during a congressional committee's roundtable discussion about concussions in sports. Illinois Representative Jan Schakowsky asked NFL Senior Vice President Jeff Miller if there was a link between the sport and the disease CTE.
Well, certainly Dr. McKee's research shows that a number of retired NFL players were diagnosed with CTE. So the answer to that question is certainly yes.
It's the first time the league has acknowledged a link. The research found CTE in the brains of 90 former NFLers.
ABC's Richard Cantu, Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
Science Fantastic with Professor Michio Kaku. Saturdays at 5, Sundays at 6 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
We have a universe that's expanding like a balloon. And in every astronomy class, the professor takes out a balloon, gets a felt pen, and puts little spirals on the balloon called galaxies. And there we are sitting in the Milky Way galaxy. And then the astronomy professor begins to blow up the balloon. And sure enough, the distance between the balloons expands. So the universe is expanding.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
6:36 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and a good morning to you. Split squad action for the Mariners yesterday. We had the Colorado Rockies on the radio. Heard King Felix on the mound. He went 2 1/3, gave up 3 runs, did strike out 5. Final score 8-4. Other game yesterday was against the Diamondbacks of Arizona. Mariners lost that one too, 8-3. Our next Mariners game tonight against the Dodgers. Pregame coverage starts at 7. Gonzaga will play number 6 seed Seton Hall in the first round of the NCAA tournament Thursday night. Our pregame show starts at 6. If they win that one, they'll take on either number 3 Utah or number 14 Fresno State. NIT, the other basketball tournament going on around this time, UW has been picked as a number 3 seed, and they take on Long Beach State tonight at 6. Other sports news, Trailblazers lost to Oklahoma City 128-94. Seahawks have signed a tackle and a defensive tackle to 1-year contracts after re-signing Jermaine Kearse, and John Ryan. And the reigning Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race champion Dallas Seavey leads the 2016 race as mushers move up the Bering Sea coast. Looking at the Shelton High School varsity sports schedule, opening day for baseball against Yelm at the Shelton baseball field, 4 o'clock today. Tomorrow, Squim comes to Shelton, and Thursday is the start of fast pitch against Bremerton in Shelton as well. Many of these games could be impacted by the weather, and here to check the South Sound's forecast, here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Scattered rain showers in the South Sound area, but it'll decrease as we go through the day. Highs will be in the upper 40s and low 50s. There's still a winter weather advisory until noon in the Cascades. So if you're driving over the pass, just know that it's going to be a little messy. I was looking at the pictures because yesterday Jeff's like, oh, it doesn't look that snowy up there.
It didn't look snowy.
Doesn't look that snowy, but right now it's, dark. There's a lot of snow on this side of the road, and it says there is snow right now and through tonight. But tomorrow, rain showers. So that is the good news for everybody, not just the passes. The weather's going to be improving the next few days with drier, warmer weather, which means more sunshine, and highs in the mid to upper 50s. Right now, it's 37.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Well, I sure lucked out then, because when I was coming back over the pass, it was bare and dry, and if it would have had to have been chains required or anything like that, not only do I not know how to put them on, but I didn't even have them with me. So
yep, you would have been stuck at the bottom or wherever they stop people.
I feel like they stopped. There was the signs pretty close to the summit. So like I'd already gone most of the way.
And then you just can't get over that last hump.
They wouldn't have let me. All right, good morning to you. 6:39 here at iFIBER One News Radio.
The city of Shelton sent out a press release to let us know that their contractor, Tappanee Incorporated, has completed about 90% of the underground utility work for the road project at Pioneer Way from University Avenue to Harvard Avenue and Lake Boulevard from Arcadia Avenue to Wyoming Avenue. The next step the contractor is going to be doing is installing curb, gutters, sidewalk, and new road. There's going to be a lot more truck traffic and construction with this new part that they're going to be doing, and there's still going to be detours in place for routing traffic. There's going to be barricades. There's going to be flaggers if it's needed. So the city just wants you to be alert and obey all construction signs and flaggers. And the city does know this is going to be difficult and hectic, and thanking everyone for their patience and understanding in advance, and also apologizing for any inconvenience. And if you need any more information, contact the city's engineering department.
641, and Denny Coughlin is a longtime activist for medical marijuana. Jeff Chu put out a story about his transition from a medical marijuana shop to a recreational marijuana shop under new state law. In the story, you learn about Denny and his reasons behind opening up a medical and now recreational shop. And actually, there's some other news about marijuana shops.
Across the state, if you've ever been into one of these recreational shops, you may have noticed a tip jar sitting there, and you're like, oh, am I supposed to tip these people? Do they get paid? Whatever.
I have been in a store for research purposes, of course, and I have seen those things.
Yeah, and it's sort of awkward. Yeah, it's sort of awkward. So the LCB State Liquor and Cannabis Board had a lot of questions come into them, so they decided to clarify their policy. Tipping is allowed in licensed retail marijuana stores. In the beginning, it wasn't allowed because they were thinking that if you tipped the bud tender, which is the person behind the counter, you'd get a discount on your product, and then the business wouldn't have to pay as much in taxes because the sale wouldn't be as high.
So they'd use it as a kind of workaround.
Yeah, workaround. So the LCB says the tax structure has been modified and gotten better with the whole marijuana sales, and it shouldn't be a problem at all. And they said, you can have a tip jar out there, but it can't be a requirement or can't be pressured, can't be linked to the price of the product. Yeah.
Hey, make sure, what's going on? Forgot the tip.
They're just looking down there like, you got a problem with your eye? You got a tick.
Crick in your neck?
Yeah.
I think some of that CBD oil may help you there.
Exactly. So, yeah, tipping's allowed. But if you're a bud tender, you could be taxed.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Hi, Hi, this is Mark, Hem Street owner of Shiloh Inns. Many of our Shiloh customers have been visiting our Shiloh locations for years. And here's an example of someone who wouldn't stay anywhere else.
Sometimes I go visit family, but most of the time I travel back and forth for business. And the best part is that I always travel with my dog Lucky, and he's welcome at any of the Shiloh Inns. I love their beds, beautiful rooms, really clean. The staff go out of their way to make me feel comfortable. Business area when I need it. Man, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, do I ever enjoy that pool and the spa? Plus, free breakfast. I love Shiloh Inns. It's everything I need.
We invite all of you to try Shiloh Inns the next time you're traveling for business or pleasure. Call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohinns.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
Living on an acreage provides 4-H opportunities for kids interested in animals. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Before you jump into an animal project, do some research and know your child's abilities as you're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
He's done 3 tours and now he's saving his dad's farm. Do you know a farmer veteran like that? We're inviting you to share their story. Successful Farming Magazine and Grasshopper Mowers are teaming up to acknowledge and thank farmer veterans for their service. This new initiative is called From Fighter to Farmer. Enter any veteran farmers you know in our contest at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer. Explain the veteran's military experience and farming operation, along with the involvement they have in your community. 3 veterans will receive a combination prize package of $5,000 and a vacation to Nashville. One lucky winner will also receive a $10,000 gift certificate to spend at Grasshopper Mowers. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the 40 contiguous United States and D.C. 13 years and older. Begins February 1st, 2016 and ends April 30th, 2016. Subject to official rules at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer rules. Void in Alaska, Hawaii, and where prohibited. Sponsor Meredith Corporation. From Fighter to Farmer is brought to you by Grasshopper Mowers. Enter any veteran farmer you know in our contest at agriculture.com/fighter to farmer.
I grew up on a small acreage in eastern Iowa. We had a barn and plenty of room for a corral, so my siblings and I raised heifers and steers as our 4-H projects. Club calves were popular projects in my 4-H club and throughout the county. It was a good fit for us. Michelle Neff is an extension educator at Michigan State University. She says if your kids are just starting out in 4-H or FFA and looking for an animal science project, figure out what their interests are by exposing them to different opportunities.
It could be going to a neighbor farm and visiting. It could be going to a fair or going to an exhibition show where animals are being exhibited, and kids get the chance to ask questions and see what happens when you have those type of projects.
Check with your local zoning laws for any restrictions. Be sure you have enough space, the resources, and the time to work with an animal. Every child has different skills and abilities, both physically and mentally, so also make sure he or she will feel comfortable around the animal. Neff recommends starting out with something small.
A goat project or a rabbit project or a poultry project. They're kind of a little bit less expensive, but yet they still need the skills of learning how to feed it, learning how to groom it, how to handle those animals. And once they've mastered some of those skills, or they feel that they want to explore a project that's a little bit more expensive and maybe takes a little bit more knowledge and skills, then they can move into that later down the road.
If you have limited space or are concerned about handling large animals, consider the mini versions. Miniature cattle breeds, horses, and pygmy goats might be a more comfortable and safe option for a young person. What animal science projects are your kids working on? Tell us at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at 6:47 at iFIBER ONE News Radio, iFIBER.com. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
So today is March 15th. What do they say? Et tu, Brute? Ever heard that phrase? Et tu?
Are you saying it right?
I doubt I'm saying it right. Are you kidding me?
Otherwise, I might have.
Et tu, Brute?
Yeah.
This is music from ancient Rome. I don't know how they know that. They couldn't record things back there, but
maybe stuff was written down and they played it.
It's the Ides of March, Carol. Et tu, Brute? You know what that means?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Well, they were best friends, Julius Caesar and also Brutus, Marcus Brutus, who stabbed Julius Caesar, right? Because it's the Ides of March all the way back 44 BC. So they say that today's a bad day because he died, Julius Caesar died. But if you're looking, one event does not a day make. You got to kind of look at the numbers and follow along. And year after year, if strange things happen in the middle of March, then maybe there's something there. Okay. How about the big Samoan cyclone of 1889 happened on the Ides of March? This cyclone wrecked 6 warships, 3 U.S., 3 German. In Samoa, 200 sailors died. Okay. Okay, so there's another one. There's 2. How about another one? Germany occupies Czechoslovakia in 1939.
And these all happen on the 15th.
Well,
exactly.
you know, we're kind of, the Ides are a general thing.
Sort of a relaxed term.
Yeah, it's not necessarily the 15th, but, you know, the 13, 14, 15, 16, I would consider them. In 1941, the Ides came on a Saturday night. Blizzard struck the northern Great Plains, leaving at least 65 people dead. It started as a light evening snow, and people were like, it's just a little snow. It's Saturday night. I'm heading out on the town. Well, before all of a sudden the wind switched, a rumbling could be heard. 60-mile-an-hour winds sweep down the north, and this is in 1941. How about in 1952? When the Indian Ocean island of La Reunion was hit with a little bit of rain in a 24-hour period, 73 inches. I don't know. And if you're not convinced, on this day or abouts in 1971, they canceled the Ed Sullivan Show. So the Ides of March are a bad news bear for some people today. 6:51 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Somebody found something shiny and gold in Israel?
I believe so.
Carol's going to tell us more about that story right after this quick break on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
One of the world's most popular songs just became legal to sing publicly. We have details today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, March 15th, the 75th day of the year. Beach Boys singer Mike Love has a birthday, and it's Statehood Day in Maine. The Pine Tree State joined the Union on this day in 1820. The most frequently sung song in the world is Happy Birthday to You. But until recently, public performances of the song have been technically illegal if you haven't paid a licensing fee to the publisher. Movies, television programs, even servers at restaurants have steered clear in fear of legal culpability. But earlier this year, a court ruled against Warner Chappell Music, the company that claimed rights to the song. It's now in the public domain, and you can legally sing Happy Birthday to your heart's content. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Find more fun facts online at almanac.com.
Hi, everyone. This is Mark Tobert, your advertising consultant from iFIBER ONE News Radio. Are you missing customers because you only market to a specific group? iFIBER ONE News Radio can help you hit a larger group of buyers with our diverse audience. We are 24 hours of local and national breaking news, award-winning talk radio, and primetime sports, including local high school sports. What does this mean to you? This means our listeners listen longer to entire programs and don't switch to another station when a commercial comes on. Our coverage in the Puget Sound area hits over 500,000 listeners, including Mason County, Thurston County, Grace Harbor County, King, Pierce, Joint Base Lewis McCourt, and Kitsap County to the Bremerton Naval Base. All advertising is 100% tax deductible. So how can you afford not to advertise? Call me, Mark Tobert, at iFIBER ONE News Radio to become a total audience plan advertiser. Just call 360-426-1030.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
.654 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, a CNBC Business Radio report coming up in about 5 minutes here on iFIBER ONE. And Arlen Morris will come in about an hour to talk about the contours of public memory. What do we collectively remember? What do we collectively forget? And how do we choose what we remember or forget? That's coming up this Sunday at the Harstein Island Community Hall.
How do we choose what we remember and what we forget?
I mean, I'm thinking a lot of this has to do with the first thing that I think of about things that we don't think about is what happened around the area of the Puyallup Fairgrounds, where they used that as an internment area for Japanese Americans during World War II. That is something that we don't like to talk about.
Right.
It happened. But because we don't talk about it a lot of people don't know, and then the collective forgets. That's kind of, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting.
One of those. That's just the first one that popped up.
Yeah, it is very interesting how we choose to do things in our life. And this is an interesting thing. And this happens not just with this story, but with other things. This story is about an Israeli hiker found a rare Roman coin that's nearly 2,000 years old.
Whoa.
And it's the only second coin of its kind to ever be discovered. That's what the authorities say. So the hiker was hiking in northern Galilee in area of Israel about 2 weeks ago. She first thought it was a discarded toy. She picked it up and then she showed it to one of her hiking guides, and they contacted the Israeli Antiquities Authority, and they got back to us. They got back to them really quickly, saying it was a world-class find and they'd like to see it to receive it.
I'll agree to that first part.
I know. So I was just thinking, okay, so what if she wanted to sell it? I mean, immediately I was thinking, does she want to sell it or does she want to give it to the museum? So it's a 24-karat gold coin dating back to 107 CE and was part of a series of nostalgic coins that the Emperor Trajan minted and dedicated to the Roman emperors that ruled before him. That's what the press release says. So it's really remarkable and surprising discovery. Lori did hand it over, exemplary civic behavior. She handed it over, the coin over to the Antiquities Authority. And now, of course, the public can see the coin.
Yeah.
So
what is she seeing in her pocketbook?
Yes.
That's what I want to know.
But is that a question? Would you just immediately hand it over? It's like finding a rare painting in a
What about those
barn?
Polish guys who supposedly found the train?
Yeah.
It says, we'll tell you where we found the train, but you've got to guarantee that we can have a 10% finder's fee.
Right. Now, they did a bunch of research and they went looking for it. She stumbled upon it.
Right. So it's a little different, I suppose.
It's a little different, but it's also how you...
Who owns the property that she was on?
Yeah. Who owns the property she was on? I mean,
if she was just out on like a walkabout.
Yeah, and then what's the statute of limitations? But I mean,
2,500 years.
If it was something super rare, I obviously don't have a place in my house where I could keep a museum quality piece. Maybe you could show it in your house and have friends come over, but maybe to the museum would be a lot better and people could go see it.
It'd have more traction if it went to a museum.
Yeah, but a lot of people have their own private art things in their houses that nobody really knows about.
The amount of art lost over the years.
So is that fair? I mean, who's to say what's fair? Who chooses to even know if those are fair?
Well, it sounds like the people who are the ones keeping the art are the ones who get to choose what's fair and what's not. No, I don't know, because again, like the collective memory, we don't know what is not there.
Exactly.
Like Donald Rumsfeld once says, we know what we know, we don't know what we don't know,
Right.
we sure don't know what we don't know.
Now, would you have looked into this when you were over there? Would you have gotten back if you were from the U.S. and come back here and then looked at it?
No. I mean, I would probably hold on to it until I got close to the airport screening, and I'd get real nervous.
You're listening to Daybreak.
I wouldn't know what they were going to do.
Do they look for gold?
No, but
Can they tell
I don't
you
want
have
to be
gold?
stuck in Israel.
It's Mauer, CNBC Business Radio. Stocks opened sharply lower on a big slide in oil prices. The Dow's down 64 points, the Nasdaq lower by 21. Retail sales fell in February, but not by as much as economists were expecting. And producer prices fell that same month, but were unchanged over the last 12 months. The U.S. government has just lifted more of its restrictions on travel to Cuba. Now Americans can go to the island state for education trips on their own, rather than having to travel with tour groups. This comes before President Obama's visit to Cuba next week. FleetCor Technologies, provider of payment products and services, including fleet cards, food cards, and corporate lodging discount cards, is buying Brazil's largest electronic toll and parking payments firm for $1.1 billion. The deal is pending approval by Brazilian antitrust regulators. Chris Mauer, CNBC.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Ah, spring. Well, that's what it was called before Honda's Dream Garage sales event. Now it's garage season. Hear that? That's the sound of a garage reaching greatness. Thank you, Honda, for allowing such beauty to exist.
Hurry in to the Honda Dream Garage sales event, where every 2016 vehicle has a standard rear view camera, and well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on the 2016 CR-V.
See dealer for financing.
Mornings start with Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Join Jeff and Carol weekdays from 6 to 9 on AM 1030 and FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. Ohio and Florida are two of 5 states holding mini Super Tuesday primaries today, which could change the face of the presidential race. John Kasich is predicting he'll win in Ohio today, which ABC political analyst Matthew Dowd tells us could be a serious setback for Donald Trump and the first step toward a brokered convention.
I think if Donald Trump loses one of the big ones, and it looks like it's to be Ohio, the contested convention is coming our way, and we're going to have an unbelievable time. The Republicans are going to have an unbelievable time, and us in the media in Ohio, in Cleveland, when that comes. But I think tonight what's going to happen is the last bastion of the establishment is probably going to lose, and that's what's amazing about this race.
On the Democratic side, both candidates are hoping for big wins. ABC's Ryan Burrow has a look ahead.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton leads Bernie Sanders by more than 600 delegates going into mini Super Tuesday voting. Sanders would need to run the table to catch her. Tonight's results will put the delegate allocation at just over 2,300, about halfway through the nomination process. To date, Hillary Clinton has won 12 states and 2 territories. Bernie Sanders has won 9 states. 5 states are up for grabs today, including Florida, which holds the mother lode, 264 delegates. Ryan Burrow, ABC News, South Florida.
The cast of Game of Thrones is donating its time and talent to a new fundraising effort for Syrian refugees on this 5th anniversary of its civil war. It's called Rescue Has No Boundaries. Consumers are still feeling cautious. Retail sales slipped 0.1% in February as Americans spent less despite steady hiring. A bent piece of railroad track is emerging as a prime suspect in this week's Amtrak derailment in West Kansas. Federal safety investigators say the train's driver spotted it and hit the brakes, averting an even worse disaster. Experts say the damage may have been done by an unreported accident and doesn't appear intentional. Purposely avoiding vaccinations is behind many outbreaks of preventable illnesses, including measles and whooping cough. A new study found 56% of measles cases were among people who weren't vaccinated, most for non-medical reasons. This is ABC News.
Control, do you like mortgages? Negative, over. Do you like rockets? Affirmative, over. Do you like rocket mortgages? I'm listening, over. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is the first on-demand mortgage machine that turns the entire mortgage process into a fast, powerful, completely online experience. Copy that, QL1. I'm going to go ahead and push this button in 3, 2, 1. Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket.
Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS Consumer Access.org number 33.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Friday's first Endless Apps of 2016 begins now.
We are a go.
That's right. America's favorite guilty pleasure is back. And $10 still gets you endless rounds of your favorite app. Like mozzarella sticks, loaded potato skins, or 8 styles of wings. We're talking endless rounds of the best appetizers on Earth.
More endless apps for mankind.
Endless Apps are back at Fridays.
Roger that.
The Vatican has set a date for canonization for one of the world's most popular Catholic figures. ABC's Megan Williams has more.
Pope Francis has announced the Catholic Church will make Mother Teresa a saint. The ceremony will be held on Sunday, September 4th, and is expected to draw thousands to St. Peter's Square. Known as the Saint of the Gutter for her care of the poor, abandoned, and dying in Calcutta, India, and around the world, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. Last December, the Pope officially cleared the way to sainthood for Mother Teresa when he recognized as miraculous the healing of a Brazilian man with multiple brain abscesses after prayers to Mother Teresa. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
Siri may put the smart in smartphone with good street directions, but a new study reveals she's not so helpful in an emergency. Researchers presented 4 popular virtual assistants with questions about rape, suicide, and depression. The answers varied widely. Researchers say the apps didn't understand the context. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Last week, we learned that a state-of-the-art Sierra Pacific Industries sawmill could be running earlier than expected. Initially, they were hoping to get it done in mid-2017, and now it looks like first quarter 2017 is very doable. Mason County Economic Development Council Director Lynn Longan and Lisa Perry from Sierra Pacific Industries told Daybreak why the operation is ahead of schedule.
I think everybody's been working hard to get this done. We've been working with Lynn at the EDC. We've been working with the chamber. The city's been really good.
Senator Sheldon and I arranged a meeting with the Department of Ecology, and we brought in the Governor's Office of Regulatory Assistance and Innovation. And since then, they've appointed a person to Sierra Pacific. So made the connections in the beginning to hopefully help them keep moving. And again, they've got a representative from the Governor's Office that helps them.
Yeah, and we all knew each other from the beginning, all the regulators, all the everyone. I mean, we're working with, 8 different agencies and 16 different permits. So it's been a lot of work, but it's everybody wants to get those jobs back in this community, and everybody wants to do it right.
This would be SBI's 4th mill in Washington, and they've also announced that Shelton will be home for a truck and a fabrication shop as well, which will add more employees to their totals of close to 200. Hear more in the full interview on the Daybreak page at iFIBER1NewsRadio.com. Hagen and Albertsons announced yesterday that of the 29 remaining Hagen stores, 15 will remain that brand, while the other 14 will be converted to the Albertsons brand. In the South Sound, one Olympia and one Auburn store will remain as Hagen, while the Lakewood and second Olympia store will be Albertsons. They say the conversion of stores to Albertsons will be done over time. A reminder from the Washington State Department of Revenue, businesses and consumers can expect to see bumps in their sales tax rates on purchases starting Friday, February 1st. In Shelton, a new transportation benefit district will add 0.2% in sales tax, bringing the rate here to 8.8%. The tax is expected to bring in $400,000 in revenues annually to fund transportation improvements. All across Washington state, Democrats will come together on March 26th to caucus for their preferred presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, or even declare they're undecided. Washington state's allocation of 119 delegates and 7 alternates will go to the National Convention in Philadelphia on July 25th. Voting is limited to registered voters who declare themselves to be Democrats and those who will be eligible to vote in the general election on November 8th. Learn more on the political page at iFIBER1NewsRadio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
Take control of your money. Start by listening to The Dave Ramsey Show.
See, as long as something is specific and measurable and you give it a time limit, immediately sixth grade math kicks in and you can do the division, long division. Say, I want to make $100,000 this year. Great. How much is that a month? $8,300. Do you sell for a living? If you're on commission, you can divide that out, know exactly what you need to sell in order to make your $2,100 a week, which is $100,000 a year. You need to divide out what it takes to get where you want to go.
The Dave Ramsey Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Wonder what the outrageously energizing experience of Mountain Dew Kickstart is like? Well, it's like a combo of 3 awesome things: dew, juice, and caffeine, rebooting your entire personal operating system.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is in position for consumption. Release the Mountain Dew Kickstart. Mountain Dew Kickstart released. Experiencing a charge of Mountain Dew Kickstart now.
Mountain Dew Kickstart operation successful.
Roger that.
Get charged up with Mountain Dew Kickstart, now in 4 energizing new flavors like Midnight Grape. It all starts with a kick.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slinky.
Good morning to you, 7:08 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Split squad action for the Mariners yesterday. We had the Colorado Rockies on the radio, heard King Felix on the mound. He went 2 1/3, gave up 3 runs, did strike out 5. Final score 6-4. The other game yesterday against Arizona, Mariners lost that one too, 8-3. Our next Mariners game is tonight against the Dodgers, and pregame coverage starts at 7. Gonzaga will be playing Thursday night against number 6 Seton Hall. Made it into the tournament of NCAA after becoming the WCC champions last week. If they win this matchup against Seton Hall, they'll take on either number 3 Utah or number 14 Fresno State. Our pregame coverage starts 6 p.m. Thursday night with the tip-off scheduled for 7. The NIT is the other basketball tournament going on around this time. UW, picked as a number 3 seed, hosts Long Beach State tonight at 6 in Seattle. Trailblazers lost to OKC 128-94. Seahawks are re-signing past players and some new players as well. They just signed a tackle and a defensive tackle to a couple one-year contracts. And the reigning Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race champion Dallas Seavey is leading the 2016 race as he mushes up the Bering Sea coast. Looking at the Shelton High School varsity sports schedule, opening day for baseball, and Yelm comes to town to the Shelton baseball field at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, Squim comes to Shelton, and Thursday is the start of Fast Pitch against Bremerton. Many of these games could be impacted by the weather. And here to check on that forecast, here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Scattered rain showers in the South Sound area. It'll decrease as we go throughout the day. Highs will be in the upper 40s and low 50s. There's still a winter weather advisory until noon in the Cascades, so if you're traveling over, there was several inches of snow that fell overnight, and it's slowing down, but the passes will be messy. The good news is that the whole region's weather will be improving in the next few days with drier, warmer weather, more sunshine, and highs in the mid to upper 50s. Right now, it's 37.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You, from business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
Good morning to you. 35th District Representative Dan Griffey's out in the lobby. He'll be on the air with us in about 4 minutes. Also throughout the morning today, we're going to learn a little bit more about the Evergreen Elementary Science Fair, which is an annual tradition at Evergreen. And Arlen Morris, the Inquiring Minds Speaker Series, continues this weekend. So we'll talk with her. And finally, from Taylor Shellfish, Bill Dewey comes by at 8:45. The first team meeting for Relay for Life is this Thursday night, the Shelton Civic Center. Bring your friends and stay for food, fun, and information about the 24-hour walk that happens in the middle of summer up at the high school for the Relay for Life. This month is National Nutrition Month. This week, we talk with Jeannie Raywalt at 7:45 about the nutrition in the schools and how the kids are getting some good nutrition. And also, we've got a couple new editorials for you to read on iFIBER1newsradio.com. Richard Barnes has one, and Politics in the 21st Century, and Kelly McIntosh writes one about the growing price of jail. Those are all on the website at iFIBER1newsradio.com. And the contractor up on Lake Boulevard or Pioneer Way is doing some good work.
Yeah, the city of Shelton sent out a press release yesterday afternoon to let us know that the contractors, Tepani Incorporated, they completed about 90% of underground utility work for the road project, and it's at the Pioneer Way from University Avenue to Harvard Avenue and the Lake Boulevard from Arcadia Avenue to Wyoming. So next he's going to be doing some sidewalks and new road and still detours. City wants you to just be aware that the project is going to get a little more hectic, but please be patient.
It'll be nice when it's all done.
It'll be nice when it's all done. That is true.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
For once, it pays to have too much student debt. I'm ABC's Chief Business and Economics Correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, with today's tax tip.
Student loan interest is a deduction that people qualify for.
The IRS's Eric Smith says the American Opportunity Credit allows those paying off their college debt to deduct up to $2,500. Those qualifying need to meet an adjusted gross income of $80,000 or less per individual, or $160,000 or less for married couples filing jointly. Smith adds it's a unique credit.
One thing about the student loan interest deduction that is different from some other deductions is you can get it even if you don't itemize deductions.
It's also not just for students. TurboTax Vice President Bob Meehan says mom and dad can get in on the action too.
Your child may be on their own right now, but the parents may be stuck with a student loan bill.
With today's tax tip, Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News.
If your saving for a retirement strategy involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," we need to talk. Hi, I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor, Karen Shade. When it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side, and there's no better time than now to get started toward your retirement goals. Stop by my office at 1051 Southeast State Route 3, Shelton.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Hi, this is Terry Allen with a look at the community calendar on iFIBER One News Radio. Nonprofits post your upcoming events on iFIBER1newsradio.com. Shelton Elks holds a bingo night every Thursday. Play begins at 6 p.m. Food and beverage is available. Open to the public at 741 Southeast Craig Road. Doors open at 5 p.m. For iFIBER One News Radio, I'm Terry Allen.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here at 7:15. I'm Jeff Slakey along with Carol Gardner. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
On the phone line, we have 35th District Representative Dan Griffey this morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Sorry, I wasn't in studio. Usually I am.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It happens.
Throws you for a loop a little bit. Keeps you on your toes.
It's right, Dan. Well, Dan, I had hoped that we were going to have
postcard
a recap, a postcard from the beach from you today, but sounds like we're all back in Olympia this morning.
Yeah, not all of us. It's mainly the negotiators. As we talked last special session, it's better to keep most of the legislature away and have just the few key people that are the budget negotiators that are appointed by all four corners. Have them in there and negotiating, what kind of the final piece is going to look like. I think we all agree that the legislation that passed through both houses should be signed by the governor. There is full agreement on that. What we don't have an agreement on is the supplemental budget this year.
And the last time we checked, we were about $400 million different. Have you heard anything different about that?
No, but write that down to ask Representative McEwen about. So we are having a staff meeting, a phone-in staff meeting. Maybe he might be able to shine some more light on that.
Okay. So
we'll have that staff meeting. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. So we did see, so there was that threat that we talked about, and surprise to me that for the most part, the governor did go through and veto a bunch, I think all but 10 bills or something. What are some of the consensus bills that did pass both houses and Senate that you wish that there was a little that you wish the action would be taken on here now?
Well, there's several of them that I have, and I'm going to relate the first one to our local area, the Marine Advisory Council. That's very, very important to our shellfish growers. I wanted to see that passed really bad. Worked really hard to get it passed, and I'm going to work in the special session to see that heard by the governor one more time.
Okay.
It deals with the study of ocean acidification. Now, there's no consensus on where it's coming from. Is it, some people are saying that there's evidence that it's coming from, Pacific Rim area, more over in the China area. We don't know. However, it is very important to our shellfish growers that this bill get passed and signed into law by the governor. We have another one that I had no idea could be a big revenue generator in industrial hemp. Totally different than marijuana. You can't get high off of it. It's not used for medical purposes. However, it's a very, very strong natural fiber that for centuries was used to make rope and clothing and that kind of thing. And I had no idea about this either, but the cotton industry was kind of the demise of that in the United States.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Yeah, so it's getting to be that it's probably a good idea that we bring this natural fiber material back and that we make our clothes out of it, that we make, you can make sheets and pillowcases and, those sort of things. So it's disappointing that one failed. There's another bill, 6281, dealing with how athlete agents interact and how early they can interact with high school students. Very important piece of legislation because we want our high school students to stay high school students, not worry about their professional careers as much as they do now. They're really being hounded by professional agents, and we think it's important that they stay younger, longer. There's another one, 6326, having to do with auto dealerships. And I didn't understand this bill completely when it first came out, but there is a automobile dealership that has nearly 200 automobile dealers, one office in Eastern Washington that doesn't even have a secretary, and there's nobody they can call. It just doesn't pass the first or second or third look test.
Yeah.
They're kind of under investigation as maybe they're a chop shop organization. So with Washington State being one of the number one property crime states in the nation, we want to really do something about our property crime rates, and that is one. So what this bill would have done is fix that problem that we have.
Huh. That's interesting. Well, we'll continue to monitor these. Do you have any sense? I mean, I know you're not in there, but have you gotten any tweets or texts from anybody in Olympia or near Olympia that says this is going to be wrapped up here soon?
So I don't have a good sense. I didn't have a good sense in the last couple of weeks, as you well know.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give anyone false hope that we'd be out on time, but we are having a phone-in staff meeting today, and I'm hoping we'll get more clarity on how the budget negotiations are going after that meeting, or during that meeting, hopefully.
All right. Well, 35th District Representative Dan Griffey, continue to do the good work here for the next couple days. Hopefully, we'll talk again maybe next week, and unless things wrap up, then we'll reassess that situation. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I'd like to do a wrap up with you guys.
Yeah. No, we got you in for a wrap up. You need to wrap up first, and then we'll have a wrap up. Okay?
Yeah. Sounds good. You guys have a nice day.
Have a good one, Dan.
Bye now.
7:21 at iFIBER ONE Newsradio. Take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have some more news of note from around the Northwest. The auditor's federal trial, jury selections getting underway this morning. And you don't have to tip those bud tenders. tell you about that as well coming up.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
If you care about what's going on around here, subscribe to the Shelton Mason County Journal. You will learn something useful about your neighborhood, upcoming events, your community, and coworkers. Laugh at the comics, cry with the obituaries, learn about local concerts, games, and new businesses. Being informed is worth it in so many ways. Subscribe today. Call 360-426-4412 or visit masoncounty.com. Check out the Journal's garage sales too. Try it. You'll love it.
Need a ride? Call 426-8294. Mason County Taxi, 426-8294. Anytime, anywhere. Call when you need a quick, affordable ride. 426-TAXI, 426-8294.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
7:23 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Supreme Court hearing this morning, and they'll hold oral arguments on an appeal of the ruling that struck down Initiative 1366. That is that tax limiting initiative that we the voters approved last year. This comes 2 months after a King County judge struck down the initiative as unconstitutional, said it was a thinly disguised effort to propose a constitutional amendment, which you can't do by initiative in the state. Also, it violated the rule that initiatives be limited to a single subject. Voters narrowly approved it last year, cutting the sales tax by a percentage point beginning on April 15th, which is a month from today, unless lawmakers allow a public vote on a constitutional amendment that would require a 2/3 supermajority in the legislature for future tax increases.
Possession of stolen property, money laundering, lying under oath, and tax offenses. Those are the charges for Washington's auditor, Troy Kelly. He's the first state official in 35 years to be indicted as jury selection for his federal trial starts today. The 51-year-old Democrat from Tacoma hopes of convincing jurors that the $1.4 million he's accused of stealing before he was in office wasn't stolen at all. Prosecutors say he pocketed fees that should have returned to thousands of homeowners, but Kelly's lawyer insists his client was entitled to keep the money. The trial is scheduled to last only 4 weeks, which seems strange.
So what seems strange about that? You think there should be more
it just seems
evidence?
It just seems like it'd be longer. Doesn't these seem like they take forever? And now they're just saying it's going to be done in a month? Maybe because it's already taken so long to get to this point.
Yeah, they must have all their stuff either ready to go, and the defense is looking at this stuff going, yikes.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep you posted. It's not going to be like the OJ trial or anything.
Yeah, I don't think we'll
filmed every day.
I don't think we're going to be as riveted as that.
Probably not.
House Bill 2925, another bill sitting on the governor's desk waiting for a signature. This one approved by the legislature lets livestock owners enter wildfire zones to get their animals, provided they don't interfere with firefighting operations. Governor has until the end of the month to take action on this. The bill introduced by Moses Lake Republican and rancher Tom Dent. Dent says he knows of colleagues who have lost livestock in wildfires, wants to make sure that cattlemen can take care of their animals. Owners and their employees will assume the responsibility for what happens to them in the fire zone. And fire chief for West Valley Fire says allowing cattlemen into wildfire zones potentially increases danger, and that makes sense, but it could work if everyone communicates. Makes sense to me. You see situations, and I don't know the mindset of a cow, but a cow's sitting there, and there's fires and smoke and a lot of things happening, and the cow may not want to go anywhere, is scared.
Right, and the homeowner or the person that owns it, I mean, they want to go get their livestock. Yeah. I mean, financial and mentally.
Is this because it's an animal? This thing's cost a pretty penny.
True, it's part of their whole livelihood, and so, the firefighters and the emergency responders, they don't want to get more people hurt or in trouble, so that's their side of the story. Yeah. But at the same time, if they work together and communicate, there are ways to get that. Then my sister lives over on that side of the county or state, and she was telling me about all those types of situations that were happening last summer. Yeah, it's a huge deal.
Huh.
The legislature passed a bill requiring the creating of community truancy boards. Students will no longer have to go to juvenile court if they skip schools. I didn't know that you had to.
Well, maybe I didn't. If you get caught.
Okay, if you
that's
get
probably
caught.
The rest of your story.
Yeah, that's
You
probably the
just
rest of
never
my
got caught.
story. This is part of a new effort to address truancy. Currently, about 70% of the state school districts don't have truancy programs. And if the governor signs this, all districts with more than 200 students will have to start the truancy board by next fall.
I never got it why you would be, you get in trouble at school and you get suspended and then you don't go to school.
Right.
It's more like a party. It's more like a, for me.
It's the whole idea, right? You want to get
watch
told
this.
to
I'm
stay
in
home.
trouble, so I don't have to, I got a test tomorrow. I'm not
Exactly.
going to do this. Fish and Wildlife wrapped up their annual survey. 2015 numbers are out. Wolf population is up around 90 now, and that's up from 68 last year, 2 years ago. At least 4 new wolf packs. And so now 18 is that total, and at least 8 breeding pairs. This is great news for the gray wolves in particular, all but eliminated last century. They are starting to recover. Also, less conflicts between wolves and livestock. So they used aerial surveys, remote cameras, wolf tracks, and signals from radio callers to count those animals. It's 7:29 here at iFIBER, ONE Newsradio.com, and marijuana is in the news right before we get to the last little bit of 7:30.
Yeah, if you've ever been in a retail marijuana store, which is fine because it's legal, you can go in there.
Okay. You don't have to ask for permission.
No, you do not.
Unless you're under 21, then
Unless you're
don't
under,
even think about it.
Exactly. So you might have noticed there's some tip jars sitting on the counters. So people were sort of like, oh, what's this all about? So they talked to or sent inquiries to the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board and asked, what's going on with the whole tip jar thing? So the LCB decided that they better clarify a policy if they even have one.
Yeah.
And they have put forth a announcement yesterday, a press release, that tipping is allowed in licensed retail marijuana stores. And at first it wasn't allowed because they thought that, well, you sort of slip somebody a tip. It means that you don't have to pay so much for your product. And then the business itself won't be showing how much they actually sold. So they would be paying less in taxes. But the tax code has it's been modified. It's supposed to be a lot better. The whole structure, it's not a problem. So tipping is fine.
It's like having a tip jar at a tool shop. Or it's like us having a tip jar.
Well, they're paying for their expertise. I don't know if anybody would actually be paying us for our expertise.
For our expertise. You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER, ONE Newsradio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Last week, we learned that a state-of-the-art Sierra Pacific Industries sawmill could be running earlier than expected. Initially, they were hoping to get it done in mid-2017, and now it looks like first quarter 2017 is very doable. Mason County Economic Development Council Director Lynn Longan and Lisa Perry from Sierra Pacific Industries told Daybreak why the operation is ahead of schedule.
I think everybody's been working hard to get this done. We've been working with Lynn at the EDC. We've been working with the chamber. The city's been really good.
Senator Sheldon and I arranged a meeting with the Department of Ecology, and we brought in the Governor's Office of Regulatory Assistance and Innovation. And since then, they've appointed a person to Sierra Pacific. So made the connections in the beginning to hopefully help them keep moving. And again, they've got a representative from the Governor's Office that helps them.
Yeah, and we all knew each other from the beginning, all the regulators, all there, everyone. We're working with, 8 different agencies and 16 different permits. So it's been a lot of work, but everybody wants to get those jobs back in this community, and everybody wants to do it right.
This would be SPI's 4th mill in Washington, and they've also announced that Shelton will be home for a truck and a fabrication shop as well, which will add more employees to their totals of close to 200. Hear more in the full interview on the Daybreak page at iFIBER1newsradio.com. Hagen and Albertsons announced yesterday that of the 29 remaining Hagen stores, 15 will remain that brand, while the other 14 will be converted to the Albertsons brand. In the South Sound, one Olympia and one Auburn store will remain as Hagen, while the Lakewood and second Olympia store will be Albertsons. They say the conversion of stores to Albertsons will be done over time. A reminder from the Washington State Department of Revenue, businesses and consumers can expect to see bumps in their sales tax rates on purchases starting Friday, February 1st. In Shelton, a new transportation benefit district will add 0.2% in sales tax, bringing the rate here to 8.8%. The tax is expected to bring in $400,000 in revenues annually to fund transportation improvements. All across Washington state, Democrats will come together on March 26th to caucus for their preferred presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, or even declare they're undecided. Washington state's allocation of 119 delegates and 7 alternates will go to the National Convention in Philadelphia on July 25th. Voting is limited to registered voters who declare themselves to be Democrats and those who will be eligible to vote in the general election on November 8th. Learn more on the political page at iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
At Mason PUD3, we know that time changes all things, like phone numbers, mailing addresses, and email addresses, even names. PUD3 needs your correct account information for emergency contacts and online security. To make this fun, all PUD3 customers who update or confirm their account information by April 27th will have their names placed into a drawing for a free iPad mini. Go to masonpud3.org/account to learn more.
Alex Jones and InfoWars. Weeknights 6 to 9 on iFIBER One News Radio.
But they run this hoax. It's the law. No, there is no law. And they all engage in this big conspiracy because they think it's the right thing to do. And then once it starts killing people, they can never admit, oh my gosh, this is a eugenics program. This is a mass public testing program. No, no, no. There's no admissions of that. It's just make fun of anybody that talks about it and say that we're going to make everybody sick. That's all over the news now. You're going to make me sick. You take a vaccine.
Piece of cake for the Warriors star. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Packer reporting on sports. Steph Curry celebrated his 28th birthday in fitting fashion.
Up fake, goes to Curry, fadeaway three. Why not?
Tim Roy on KNBR as Curry's 27 points led the Warriors to an easy win over the Pelicans, a record 49th straight regular season home victory. In Toronto, the Raptors can't seem to figure out the Bulls.
Taking away left block, the kick out McDermott, left wing three. Yes!
On WMVP, Doug McDermott scored 29 points off the bench as the Bulls beat the Raptors for the 9th straight time. Mirza Tilidovic hit a three with 1.2 seconds left to lift the Suns over the Timberwolves. Russell Westbrook posted a triple-double in the Thunder's win. The Jazz took down the Cavs, and the Rockets clobbered a depleted Grizzlies squad 130-81. In college, play-in games will kick off the big dance. Florida Gulf Coast against Fairleigh Dickinson, while Vanderbilt goes head-to-head with Wichita State. Kentucky head coach John Calipari has taken issue with the bracket, criticizing the process after the Wildcats were seated lower than Texas A&M, a team they beat that day for the SEC title. Kentucky Athletic Director Mitch Barnhart is echoing those frustrations, calling for more NCAA transparency. In women's college hoops, UConn earned the first overall seed in the tournament. The undefeated Huskies are hoping to claim a record 4th consecutive championship. Rounding out the number 1 seeds were South Carolina, Notre Dame, and Baylor. Turning to football, the NFL has made a surprising admission.
It came during a congressional committee's roundtable discussion about concussions in sports. Illinois Representative Jan Schakowsky asked NFL Senior Vice President Jeff Miller if there was a link between the sport and the disease CTE.
Well, certainly Dr. McKee's research shows that a number of retired NFL players were diagnosed with CTE. So the answer to that question is certainly yes.
It's the first time the league has acknowledged a link. The research found CTE in the brains of 90 former NFLers.
ABC's Richard Cantu, Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
Good morning to you. It's 7:37 at iFIBER One News Radio. Sports news for you. Split squad action for the Mariners yesterday. We heard the Colorado Rockies on the radio with King Felix on the mound. He went 2 1/3, gave up 3 runs, did strike out 5. Final score is 6-4. The other game yesterday, split squad against the Diamondbacks, and the Mariners lost that one 8-3. Our next Mariners game tonight against the Dodgers. Pre-game coverage starts at 7 p.m. Gonzaga takes on number 6 Seton Hall in the first round of the NCAA tournament this Thursday. They get into the NCAA tournament after becoming WCC tournament champions last week. If they beat Seton Hall, they'll move on to either the number 3 Utah or the number 14 Fresno State, whoever's the winner of that game. Again, pregame coverage starts 6 p.m. Thursday night. NIT, the other basketball tourney going on around this time, and UW is playing Long Beach State tonight at 6. Trailblazers lost to OKC 128-94. And reigning Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race champion Dallas Seavey leads the 2016 race as mushers move up the Bering Sea coast. Looking at the Shelton High School varsity sports schedule, opening day for baseball against Yelm at the Shelton baseball field, 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, Squim comes to Shelton. Thursday, the start of fast pitch against Bremerton. For the Lady High Climbers, many of these games, though, could be impacted by the weather. And here, checking on the forecast, here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Scattered rain showers in the South Sound area, but it will decrease as we go through the day. Highs will be in the upper 40s and low 50s. There's still a winter weather advisory until noon in the Cascades. I'm looking at the WSDOT Snoqualmie Pass Summit picture webcam, and it looks pretty slushy on the road, so I would not really want to be driving over it. So there are people, though, that are used to it, but it's just sort of yucky. And it does say it's sort of snowing and raining up there. So it is getting a little better, the snow slowing down. And that's good news for everybody around this whole region, because we will be improving over the next few days with drier, warmer weather, more sunshine, and highs in the mid to upper 50s. Get out your lawnmowers. Right now it's 38.
And my moss mower is more like it.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
7:39 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. We're going to learn about the Evergreen Elementary Science Fair in just a couple of moments. And still coming up today, Arlen Morris on the Inquiring Minds Speaker Series. And Bill Dewey from Taylor Shellfish at 8:45. That's all coming up in the next hour and a half here on the Daybreak program.
And the city of Shelton has sent out a press release letting us know that their work on the road project on Pioneer Way from University Avenue to Harvard Avenue, and then Lake Boulevard from Arcadia Avenue to Wyoming Avenue, is going into a next phase. The contractor, Tapani, has completed about 90% of the underground utility work, and now they're going to be working on roads, sidewalks, gutters, curbs. So there's still going to be detours in place for routing the traffic, but there's going to be a lot more truck traffic and construction with this new phase. There's going to be barricades and flaggers if needed, and the city wants you to be alert, obey all construction signs and flaggers. The city does know this is going to be difficult and hectic, and is thanking everyone in advance for their patience and understanding, and apologizing for the inconvenience.
So not only is this going on, continuing, but there's also the natural gas line at the bridge that's causing a problem. Oh, pretty much in that same area too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Have you been going through town? I've made a conscious decision to head back out Railroad. I haven't even been over Goldsboro Creek Bridge.
Only in the early morning hours when there is nobody working.
7:41 here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio.com. Carol also has some information on CFLs, those curly Q. Those are the curly Q light bulbs, right? The
compact fluorescent lamps. Yeah. And there's a new program in Washington that's collecting these compact fluorescent lamps and other mercury-containing lights. Washingtonians have recycled more than 1 million of these types of lights since this Light Cycle Washington program launched January 1st of last year.
Yeah.
And their goal is to get all mercury-containing lights out of the environment by recycling. And Pete Thermos, the program manager for Light Cycle Washington, said the program has gotten off to a great start, but he knows there's a lot more of those mercury-containing lights out there. And most people don't even know that the CFLs and fluorescent lights contain mercury.
Why would you think that? I mean, you've had your regular incandescents for so long, you just assume.
Right. So, even though each light has a really, really small amount of mercury, the millions of lights used could be very hazardous if they're not all properly recycled. So check out lightcycle.org, enter your zip code, and find your place to drop off. There's over 200 in sites in Washington to collect this.
I got a lot of those lights sitting around. I just don't know what to do with them.
There you go.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is John Greenhut, the CEO of Power Swabs. And if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends, family, and coworkers talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-928-7113. That's 1-800-928-7113. Sometimes GPS lets you down. Always have a map handy in the glove box. And that's an easy thing to do with Mass Marketing Maps. These maps are free. Pick one up today at West Realty in Hoodsport, Mountain View Licensing on Wallace Neyland, at the Agate Store, and at iFIBER One News Radio. So the next time technology lets you down, be prepared with a new map from Mass Marketing.
You know, there's nothing like the look and feel of a real newspaper. Award-winning writers and design, voted one of the best newspapers in Washington, the Mason County Journal has the news, opinion, and information you want. Full of colorful photos and great-looking ads. Share it with family and friends. No electricity required. Look for us at over 80 locations throughout the county or visit masoncounty.com. The Mason County Journal, a big part of this wonderful place we call home.
Alex Jones and InfoWars, weeknights 6 to 9 on iFIBER One News Radio.
And with Google Analytics and with Facebook behind it, they all met the same place Bilderberg met a few years ago. They met there a few years before that. They're north of London. This has all been publicly released and funded the Arab Spring, where they get the students, everybody out the street. But then the radicals use that once they take over to coup d'etat the coup. And then now you have an Islamic State over Libya, over Saudi Arabia, which is already quarterbacking it, over Syria, over Egypt.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 1033 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here, 7:45 at iFIBER One News Radio. I'm Jeff Slakey, along with Carol Gardner. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
We have got in studio Mike Burlett, a teacher at Evergreen Elementary, celebrating his 20th year teaching. First off, congratulations and welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's a big accomplishment, 20 years in the biz. We're here today to talk about the annual Evergreen Elementary Science Fair.
It is going to be a big event coming up this Thursday, and it is open to community members to come and see the amazing work that the Evergreen students can do. It is a full-blown science fair with over 100 science projects made by kids from kinder through 5th grade.
Wow.
And the kids do all of their work in both English and Spanish. It's a dual language school. And so it is really a culmination of weeks and weeks of hard work by the students. Again, all the way from kindergarten through 5th grade, and they can present their projects in both languages.
I've had the chance to judge some of these over the years, and I got to tell you, these kids know their science well more than I do in some cases. It seems like when I see some of the things that they come up with and the programs that they work in. It's all in a group setting too. It's pretty nice to see them how they work together.
Yeah, collaboration is a big part of what we teach in science, and science is a big focus of our school. The kids have been, again, working on this, and they use the complete scientific method all the way from kindergarten through 5th grade. And they have been working collaboratively on this. We encourage them to research their topic as much as they can, and then start asking the questions, what if? What if something changed? What if something was a little bit different? And again, this is open for community members to come see what dual language education looks like and what are some of the amazing things these kids can do because of the education they're receiving and the effort they put in. Our principal, Adina Brito, has been with us for 3 years now, and she's really been an innovative leader in getting this science fair ramped up from where it was already good to something that's just spectacular.
It's an all-day event, and so when people come by, they'll see in the beginning parts of the day, the kindergarten and first, second, three, and then we start moving older as we get through the day?
So the judging is an all-day event, and that begins with kindergarten and moves up throughout the day. But parents are welcome, community members are welcome to come in anytime from 10 o'clock to 2:30, and all of the science boards, the science exhibits will be available for viewing from 10 to 2:30. And throughout the day, different classes will be there to explain their projects. A lot of the projects have interactive pieces where you can actually touch and look and see. And the kids have a wealth of knowledge about their topic. You'd be really surprised how much they know about what they're doing.
Did you guys already say how many are going to be there?
There's a lot, no?
There will be over 100 projects. I think about 130, 140 projects. Our 5th graders, we do this as a kind of a gradual process. In kindergarten, it's a whole class project. In 1st and 2nd grade, they do like half of a class or smaller groups. 3rd grade, it's groups of 4. 4th grade, it's partners. And in 5th grade, each student is responsible for an individual project from beginning to end, the complete scientific method in English and Spanish, and be ready to present that project.
When I've been there, I've noticed, you can sometimes tell if the parents help out a little bit on some of the graphics or some of the things. I rarely see any of that at Evergreen. It seems like it's mostly all the kids doing the hard work and putting the images together and the method and things like that. You don't see a lot of, X happened because Y happened because my dad told me so. There's not a lot of that. It's actual science going on, and the kids are the ones learning that stuff.
It is a rigorous process, and it's that way on purpose. We really want the kids to experience what science is, the fun part as well as the work part, and they do a great job. Once they get into it, there's really no stopping them. They'll want to do another project. The teachers might be a little tired, but the kids are ready to do another one right away.
So do they base their projects on what they're learning at school, or do you as they get older, or maybe they can go, I heard about something, this is what I want to do?
It's a great question. We kind of do a combination of both things. We start off encouraging certain types of projects about things they've been studying at school, but as they get older, they find their unique interests, and we've got everything from a food science going on with different types of taste testing and how your taste buds work or can be fooled, to hydroelectric engineering projects, to different materials used to build bridges and which one will be sturdier. And as far as the technology and the graphics go, you might see kind of an uptick in what the kids are able to do. We've been infusing a lot of technology recently. And again, our instructional coach, Dr. Serrano, and our principal, Ms. Brito, have been really behind the idea of infusing technology into the curriculum. So our kids are on Google Docs. They share Google Docs. They work on projects simultaneously, and they do a lot of the research, and their production capability is really ramping up using the technology.
That's amazing. We here at the station can't even figure out Google Docs, between 5 or 6 of us. So that is really impressive that the kids are able to do that. If they get, I don't want to say win the whole thing, but if they score enough points, they move on to a weekend event, right, at the high school?
So it is a judged competition. So we are looking for judges, anybody who wants to really be involved in a school on a very short-term, non-committal exercise just for a one-day shot, go in and really experience what these kids are doing, can volunteer to be a judge. You can contact the school, contact Ms. Brito or Dr. Serrano. They're looking for judges right now. It's a great experience. It is so much fun. And the kids are judged, and they are aware of what the rubric is they're being judged by, and it is a very serious competition. And the thing that they look most forward to is not necessarily winning the blue ribbon. They look forward to the judges' comments. They want to know, oh, what do they think about this part? How could I make that part better? And they want to go right away and go in and redo their project and make it better. So the kids who are in 5th grade, most of them will be participating in the Mason County Science Fair, which will be held at Oakland Bay Junior High on Saturday. They don't have to win our science fair to participate. We encourage them all to sign up and participate in the Mason County Science Fair because, again, that helps them get exposure to other schools, other projects, and connect with other kids who are interested in science. And there's nothing better in science than sharing.
Mike Burlett is a teacher at Evergreen Elementary, talking about the science fair that's coming up this Thursday. Folks can start to go in and see things at 10. And the judging goes throughout the day and starts with kindergarten, goes all the way through 5th. And again, a dual language school. And that was impressive to me, too, to see the work done in both languages.
All of our instruction, all the kids learn half a day in English and half a day in Spanish. And we welcome parents to come and take a look at how that would work. We have students enter our school in kindergarten knowing only one language, English or Spanish. And when they walk out as 5th graders, our goal is to have them bilingual, biliterate, bicultural, and ready to add on another language after that.
Wow.
It's been a tremendous advantage for lots and lots of kids in this community. And since Shelton right now has a choice of elementary, if they're interested in enrolling their kid for next year in an experience that's really, really life-changing. I know that sounds kind of extreme, but when you think about being able to carry a second language as a 5th grader, wow.
That is pretty impressive. Mike, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us, and we'll see you at the fair.
Yep, it's 7:54 now. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, get ready for 8 o'clock here with the Old Farmer's Almanac coming up next on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
One of the world's most popular songs just became legal to sing publicly. We have details today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, March 15th, the 75th day of the year. Beach Boys singer Mike Love has a birthday, and it's Statehood Day in Maine. The Pine Tree State joined the Union on this day in 1820. The most frequently sung song in the world is Happy Birthday to You. But until recently, public performances of the song have been technically illegal if you haven't paid a licensing fee to the publisher. Movies, television programs, even servers at restaurants have steered clear in fear of legal culpability. But earlier this year, a court ruled against Warner Chappell Music, the company that claimed rights to the song. It's now in the public domain, and you can legally sing Happy Birthday to your heart's content. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Find more fun facts online at almanac.com.
iFIBER ONE Newsradio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here. Just a few moments until 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night is the finality of the Empty Bowls for the year here, March 16th. The 11th annual Shelton Arts Commission Empty Bowls event culminates. Delicious meal and viewing of all the creative bowls and mine. Not very creative. It's a good time, though, had by all. 5 to 7, everyone invited to attend the Shelton Civic Center. Silent art auction is also slated to assist in raising funds. You can head on down there and get some bread and soups from Zinn's or The Strip or Sisters, and Olympic Bakery and Deli is the one that provides the bread. It is to fight hunger and always a good time. And we've had a great time down there the last couple of weeks, Stephanie and Kaiser and I, for sure. Looking forward to wrapping it up this Wednesday.
So we were just talking about technology.
Yes, we were.
And how much they're integrating it into the schools. Well, a company in Sweden has really gone a lot farther in integrating technology and their employees. They call it augmented humanity, and they foresee a future in which everyone will have an implanted chip that will benefit their personal lives. So the Swedish biohacking group designed this chip, and it's a radio wave emitting chip the size of the grain of rice, similar to transmitters implanted into pets. So this Swedish company says their 700 employees can get the implant done by a professional tattoo artist.
Hey, good for you. You get an implant.
You get an implant, maybe a little design. So they even have little parties, chip insertion parties for their employees.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Are these lifetime employees of this place?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you dig it out when you quit, or?
Well, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, because a reporter actually went over there to sort of cover the story, and he got one implanted when he was over there, and he went back to England or whatever, and he still got the chip in.
So I will be able to, I won't need my keys or anything anymore. I just wave my hand like I'm a Jedi Knight, and the doors open and food gets ordered.
That's in the future. Right now, these chips they don't work as well as what you would imagine, because we're so engrossed in movies and TV shows that have all this high technology. But so, like, for the copy machine,
you have to get a chip to use the copy machine?
You don't have to. Some employees refuse to get one. It's voluntary right now.
I would probably refuse.
So you have to sort of twist and wave your hand to try to get the stuff to work, and possibly you can pay for your coffee later on with this chip. Now they're just starting out the technology.
I am almost 100% sure that eventually that'll happen. That your payment option will be you. You will be the payment option. But this seems...
Well, it's already happening. That's why it's so weird.
And well, yes, one, that is so weird. And I was just thinking about I can't believe a business is doing this. But if it's not a business, I would definitely not want the government to do this.
Right. And so that's sort of what their thinking is, this Swedish company. They said they want to find out how these chips really work.
Sure they do.
What it all entails. And so if one day you have to have a chip, they feel like they'll be ahead of the game and they'll know the ins and outs on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is like, not to go too deep into the rabbit hole, but embedded grains of rice-sized RFID chips. That's like straight out of the X-Files.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you are always...
alien abduction stuff.
But you're always talking about, I got to type in a password. You just wave your hand.
Just wave my hand.
You don't even have to worry about a password. If people want your stuff, they cut off your hand.
They cut off my hand? Huh. Well,
save a lot of grief for you, Slakey.
If I don't have to remember passwords, I could get behind this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Tom Hartman is live and waiting your call weekdays from 9 to noon on iFIBER ONE Newsradio, AM 1030, FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. He's got at least one vote. Ohio Governor John Kasich smiled as he cast his ballot in Westerville this morning and predicted a win in his home state's primary.
I feel terrific. It's great. Do I seem like I'm nervous or uptight, or I'm having a great time?
A Kasich win could substantially weaken Donald Trump's hand. ABC's Kenneth Moten tells us what's at stake.
Is here the day that could be a critical turning point in the race for president.
This is a place I want to win. This is the place. This is going to do it.
GOP frontrunner Donald Trump is in the winner-take-all state of Ohio overnight, attacking its governor. John Kasich, who was ahead or tied in the polls with Trump in the Buckeye State, seized on the recent violence at the billionaire's rallies.
This country is not about us tearing one another down.
Kasich has a chance to win, making a contested Republican convention likely. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Cleveland, Ohio.
Bernie Sanders is telling supporters Hillary Clinton isn't the inevitable nominee, but the latest polls show she is leading. Allergy season is blooming. Unseasonably warm weather is making pollen counts rise. ABC Chief Medical Editor Dr. Richard Besser says if you want to ease your suffering, there are things you can do.
It's so nice to open the window and let the breeze in. That brings in all the pollen. So close your windows, clean your air conditioning filter, and that's going to help a lot. Take it off. So when you come in from the outside, take a shower, change your clothes. That's going to get the pollen that's on your body off, and that's going to help a lot.
Angelina Jolie is in Lebanon today, marking the 5th anniversary of the civil war in Syria by meeting with refugees and calling on other countries to open their borders and hearts to them. Dallas CV hugged his dogs after crossing the finish line first to win his 3rd straight Iditarod dog sled race in Alaska. He did it in record time. Ben is a bachelor no more. He popped the question to Lauren, the flight attendant, on last night's finale. She said yes, but first fans had to endure the cringeworthy dump scene featuring JoJo. However, she's already bouncing back. She will be the next bachelorette. This is ABC News.
Hear that? That's the sound of you creating your own destiny. While others are waiting in line for brunch, you're spending Saturday in the garage. Because you went to advanceautoparts.com, ordered a platinum battery with a 3-year replacement warranty, and picked it up in-store just 30 minutes later. Now, installing a battery isn't an all-day job, but what the brunch crowd doesn't know won't hurt it. Advance Auto Parts. Let's get you back to the garage. Visit advanceautoparts.com to learn more.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Friday's first Endless Apps of 2016 begins now.
Kitchen, we are a go.
That's right. America's favorite guilty pleasure is back. And $10 still gets you endless rounds of your favorite app. Like mozzarella sticks, loaded potato skins, or 8 styles of wings. We're talking endless rounds of the best appetizers on earth.
More endless apps for mankind.
Endless Apps are back at Fridays.
Such an app.
More explosive testimony has come down in Hulk Hogan's $100 million lawsuit against Gawker. ABC's Lindsay Janis is there.
The defense put former editor-in-chief of Gawker.com, A.J. Delario, on the stand. He is the guy responsible for posting the 1-minute, 41-second clip of that Hulk Hogan sex tape. As he was up there on the stand in cross-examination, Hogan's lawyers hammering him, pointing to a comment that he made in a 2013 deposition. He was asked if there was any celebrity sex tape he wouldn't consider newsworthy. He said that of a child. They asked him what age. He said 4. Gawker has called that sarcastic, but Hogan's lawyers hitting on that once again. Lindsay Janis, ABC News, St. Petersburg, Florida.
About 350 high school students in the Boston area who endured the grueling SATs weeks ago will have to do it all over again because their proctor accidentally gave them an extra 10 minutes before saying pencils down. Officials at Newton High School say it was their first time administering the new revamped exam. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news brought to you by the Lucky Eagle Casino. Visit online at luckyeagle.com.
From the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, I'm Marilyn Foster. Last week, we learned that a state-of-the-art Sierra Pacific Industries sawmill could be running earlier than expected. Initially, they were hoping to get it done in mid-2017, and now it looks like first quarter 2017 is very doable. Mason County Economic Development Council Director Lynn Longan and Lisa Perry from Sierra Pacific Industries told Daybreak why the operation is ahead of schedule.
I think everybody's been working hard to get this done. We've been working with Lynn at the EDC. We've been working with the chamber. The city's been really good.
Senator Sheldon and I arranged a meeting with the Department of Ecology, and we brought in the governor's office of regulatory assistance and innovation. And since then, they've appointed a person to Sierra Pacific. So made the connections in the beginning to hopefully help them keep moving. And again, they've got a representative from the governor's office that helps them.
Yeah, and we all knew each other from the beginning, all the regulators, all the everyone. I mean, we're working with, 8 different agencies and 16 different permits. So it's been a lot of work, but it's everybody wants to get those jobs back in this community, and everybody wants to do it right.
This would be SPI's 4th mill in Washington, and they've also announced that Shelton will be home for a truck and a fabrication shop as well, which will add more employees to their totals of close to 200. Hear more in the full interview on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. Hagen and Albertsons announced yesterday that of the 29 remaining Hagen stores, 15 will remain that brand, while the other 14 will be converted to the Albertsons brand. In the South Sound, one Olympia and one Auburn store will remain as Hagen, while the Lakewood and second Olympia store will be Albertsons. They say the conversion of stores to Albertsons will be done over time. A reminder from the Washington State Department of Revenue, businesses and consumers can expect to see bumps in their sales tax rates on purchases starting Friday, February 1st. In Shelton, a new transportation benefit district will add 0.2% in sales tax, bringing the rate here to 8.8%. The tax is expected to bring in $400,000 in revenues annually to fund transportation improvements. All across Washington state, Democrats will come together on March 26th to caucus for their preferred presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, or even declare they're undecided. Washington state's allocation of 119 delegates and 7 alternates will go to the National Convention in Philadelphia on July 25th. Voting is limited to registered voters who declare themselves to be Democrats and those who will be eligible to vote in the general election on November 8th. Learn more on the political page at iFIBER1newsradio.com. For iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
Are you a do-it-yourselfer or a direct-it-yourselfer?
Every weekend, people tell us about overspending on projects they could have handled themselves for lots less money.
And we hear from people who ended up overspending because they tried to do something they should have called in a pro to tackle.
Well, we'll help you sort it out. I'm Tom Kreitler.
And I'm Leslie Segretti. Got a remodeling or a repair project?
We can help you decide whether to do it yourself or direct it yourself this weekend on the Money Fit Home Improvement Radio Show.
Saturdays at 10, Sundays at 7 on iFIBER One News Radio.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates. We offer personal lines of credit, affordable auto loans, and a variety of home loan options to get you moving. Visit our offices in Shelton, Belfair, Paulsbo, Port Orchard, and Port Townsend, or go online to pcfcu.org. At Peninsula Credit Union, our priority is you.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slakey.
.808, good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slakey. Split squad action for the Mariners yesterday. Had the Colorado Rockies game on the air. King Felix on the mound. Went 2 1/3, gave up 3. Did strike out 5. Final score 6-4. The other game yesterday was against Arizona, and the Mariners lost that one too, 8-3. Our next Mariners game is tonight against the Dodgers. Pre-game coverage starts at 7. Gonzaga takes on number 6 Seton Hall Thursday night. Seton Hall ranked at number 6. Gonzaga in the tournament at number 11. If they win that first round, they'll take on the winner of the Utah-Fresno State game, most likely Utah. Pre-game coverage again Thursday night at 6 p.m. with the tip-off at 7 for Gonzaga basketball. Tonight, the NIT tournament has UW and Long Beach State, 6 o'clock in Seattle. Reigning Iditarod Trail sled dog race champion Dallas Seavey leads the 2016 race as mushers are moving up the Bering Sea coast and looking at the Shelton High School varsity sports schedule. Opening day for baseball against Yelm at the Shelton baseball field, 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, Squim comes to Shelton, and Thursday, the start of fast pitch against Bremerton. Many of these games, though, could be impacted by the weather. And here to take a look at the South Sounds forecast, here's Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Scattered rain showers in the South Sound area, but it will decrease as we go through the day. Highs in the upper 40s and low 50s, and there's still a winter advisory if you're going to be heading over the pass. There was several inches of snow that fell overnight, slowing down, but the passes are pretty messy right now with rainy, slushy roads. The good news, though, is the region's weather will be improving over the next few days with drier and warmer weather, more sunshine, and highs in the mid to upper 50s. And right now it's 38.
Now, from the iFIBER One News Radio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor, your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
8:11 here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio.com. Checking out some news notes from around the Northwest, starting at Shelton here now.
Yeah, right here locally, the contractor that's working with the city of Shelton has completed about 90% of their underground utility work in the Lake Boulevard road project, and they will be going to phase 2, and there'll be a lot more traffic and trucks, and so be watching out for that. We'll have that information on our website later today.
Okay. Fish and Wildlife wrapped up their annual survey, and the 2015 numbers are out today. Wolf population is up around 90 or so. There were 68 wolves in 2014, and at least 4 new wolf packs, bringing that total to 18, and at least 8 breeding pairs. Gray wolves in particular were all but eliminated last century, starting to recover a little bit, and less conflict between wolves and livestock.
And there's going to be a new 3-mile segment of Light Link Rail scheduled to open this Saturday, which is travel up in Seattle from University of Washington to downtown Seattle and the airport. There'll be 2 new stations near UW's Husky Stadium and Capitol Hill neighborhood.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. So now people either that are going to UW games or even downtown can get off the airplane, hop the Light Link Rail, and get into the city or all the way up to the stadium.
Yeah, pretty neat.
That's awesome. That's got to save a bunch of time for college kids that are up there.
And there is a new station expected to open in the fall, which would extend the light rail almost about 1.5 miles south of the airport. So it might make its way down to Olympia and then maybe up to Shelton.
2050. In the year 2050, Dateline.
In the year 2525.
Be right back with Arlen Morris from the Harstein Islands Speaker Series.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
I've been coming to Iron Springs for about 40 years. First as a child with my parents, then as a teenager, then with my husband. We've brought friends, neighbors, in-laws, a few miscellaneous boyfriends of my sister, carried grandma over streams on the beach, and now I'm back with our 2 lovely daughters.
Iron Springs Resort, where special memories are kept. Iron Springs is 25 classic historic oceanfront cabins, lovingly renovated with wood-burning fireplaces, uninterrupted ocean views, fully stocked modern kitchens, Wi-Fi, and widescreen TV.
Here for my 41st birthday. Wonderful way to celebrate. An eagle let us get nice and close. Couldn't ask for a better birthday gift.
This Olympic Coast Minute was brought to you by Iron Springs Resort in Copalis Beach, where the ocean and seagulls greet you every day. Visit ironspringsresort.com for our current specials. ironspringsresort.com or call 1-800-380-7950. 1-800-380-7950.
Say, what's for lunch? Breakfast. No, what's for lunch? Oh, yeah, breakfast. Breakfast for lunch? Yep. Then what's for dinner? Breakfast is. I thought you said breakfast was for lunch.
I totally did.
But now you're saying breakfast is for dinner.
Oh, yeah, I am.
So, wait, is lunch for breakfast?
No, breakfast is for breakfast. With McDonald's all-day breakfast menu, which includes the Egg McMuffin, hot cakes, and hash browns, anytime is delicious breakfast time.
Man, I'm heading to McDonald's. Have a good afternoon.
Don't you mean good morning?
I do now.
McDonald's all-day breakfast menu varies by location. Introducing McDonald's Signature Crafted Recipes. We're talking bold sandwiches featuring authentic ingredients.
What?
You know it, like the guacamole made with Haas avocados in the Pico guacamole recipe.
Wow.
Barbecue sauce made with Vidalia onions in the sweet barbecue bacon recipe.
Nice.
And bacon with maple seasoning in the maple bacon Dijon recipe.
Amazing.
Try them on chicken or beef.
I want to try them all.
It's a new way to enjoy McDonald's. Create your signature crafted sandwich today at participating McDonald's.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 1033 presents Daybreak.
$8:15 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Good morning to you. I'm Jeff Slinky along with Carol Gardner. Carol, we got a great guest in studio right now, don't we?
We do. Arlen Morris, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, the chair of the Inquiring Minds Harstein Island Community Club.
Series. Yes.
Series, okay.
Yes, it is a series of speakers that we partner with Humanities Washington to bring to the community. This is the third in our series is going to be on March 20th, Sunday the 20th. We open the doors at 1:30 and start at 1:45. So in the meantime, you can drop in and have a cup of coffee before the program starts. And the program this time coming up, it's Contours of Public Memory. And, I thought that was a really interesting thing to think about. And then I started thinking about how do we apply that to what's happening currently. And what Contours of Public Memory, as Professor David Schultz, who is Director of Communications at Trinity Lutheran, who's the speaker, the questions that he poses are collectively, what do we remember? Collectively, what do we forget? How do we choose what we remember collectively or forget or even destruct in terms of memory? And I know that one of the examples that he uses is Japanese internment on Bainbridge Island. There's a lot of times there's truth and then there's not truth, or the whole story is not told. So what goes into public memory about that event? And I was thinking about it today as some of our issues with perhaps the Mideast. What do we really know? We don't know the whole picture perhaps, or we've only been given, because of maybe somebody's prejudices, a small, and that becomes part of our memory. So that's kind of what he is talking about, is how this body of public memory even affects how we live today, what our policies are, how we look at events and people, and maybe even ourselves. And so I think it's going to be a really, really an interesting topic, considering the current news. I was thinking, 2 generations from now, how are the elections going to be viewed, perhaps? And I don't know if either one of you have a memory that you wonder if the memory's intact, or it's only half the story that you've been believing for a really long time.
Well, it's even interesting because what you learned from your parents you thought was true. And then it expands out even farther what your city or your surroundings all believed and thought was true. And then even goes even farther, which he's going into, the whole country.
Exactly.
So it is, question authority.
When we were talking about this conversation last hour, I brought up that we don't like to talk about the fact that we use the current Puyallup Fairgrounds also internment camp for Japanese Americans, and people go and celebrate the Washington State Fair every year, walk over the little monument that's there on the grounds, because it's just there. It says here it was, and that is something we don't talk about, and it's not necessarily in our collective memory as well.
But it's actually in my memory. And I remember I was probably only maybe 3 or 4 at the time, but I remember going out there with my parents. And it's just an indelible memory that I remember fences. I remember guard towers, and I'm saying, what's this about? And also, interestingly enough, 25 years later or so, I'm saying to my parents, how'd you let this happen? And, what they say is, we just didn't know.
Right.
We were told that this is to keep us safe.
Yeah.
And I know that even lingering today in some of the older generations, there's still the prejudice, there. But same. We didn't hear that story. So I'm encouraging any nonprofit group out there to take advantage of these speakers. The education that it can bring to your community is just wonderful. Our first speaker this year was talking about teaching soldiers how to tell their stories, teaching them how to write their stories when sometimes they can't tell their stories vocally. So we had a lot of information about those issues. Our second one was David Fenner doing Islam 101. We learned so much about the culture, the people, the things that we thought we believed that aren't true at all. What a small percentage of the whole Muslim, Islam community are actually terrorists, which comes down to about 2% out of these billions of followers. And it was probably one of our most successful programs, but we just went away with it, just stimulated and felt enlightened, and that we knew so much more about what we read in the newspaper or what we hear on the news, that we can sort maybe some of it out to what's real and what's being exaggerated. I mean, these are kind of my opinions. You know, I'm kind of editorializing here a bit, I guess. So what I'm encouraging people to do, any nonprofit can access these speakers, and all you have to do is go to humanities.org online. They have 30 speakers of all kinds of topics, and apply. And in some cases, if you want to bring a speaker from quite a ways, they have grants. And there are other programs that Humanities Washington also does. If you don't know what Humanities Washington is, it is a group that supports the humanities. It's connected with the National Endowment for the Humanities. It's supported by the legislature. It's supported by Boeing. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization in terms of what it brings to communities all over the state.
David Schultz is the professor and chair of communication at Trinity Lutheran up in Everett, and he'll be speaking on the contours of public memory this Sunday at the Harstein Island Community Hall, 3371 East Harstein Island Road. Just take a left across the bridge. Doors open at 1:30, and coffee and everything gets underway at 1:45, and the speaker gets going about 2. Is that right?
That's right.
Excellent. Arlen Morris, thanks for coming in today.
Had a good time.
Nice to talk with you.
I love talking about this. Thank you.
It's 8:23 here now. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got more news to pass along, and the morning stock numbers and Mary Lynn Foster are all here, and still Bill Dewey from Taylor Shellfish dropping by at 8:45.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
Mason General Hospital and Family of Clinics continues to receive national recognition for its exceptional quality of care. Most recently being presented with an award for overall excellence and quality by the National Organization of States Offices of Rural Health. In February, Mason General was recognized for being an acute stroke-ready hospital, complete with telemedicine technology. These 2 awards come at the heels of the hospital's diagnostic imaging department receiving the American College of Radiology's gold standard for its MRI and CT programs, and MGH Olympic Physicians being recognized as a patient-centered medical home model for its highly coordinated patient-centered care. For details, see the March issue of Scope.
Mason General Hospital and Family of Clinics. Equal opportunity provider. Translation services provided.
Mason General and Family of Clinics.
Look for the latest in local news at iFiber1newsradio.com.
Hey, baseball fans, it's that time of year again to join iFIBER ONE News Radio for Seattle Mariners baseball. Baseball is part of the fabric of summertime in the Northwest, and with people traveling to enjoy outdoor activities like camping, fishing, hiking, and boating, the only place to listen to the Seattle Mariners is on iFIBER ONE News Radio. People ask what they remember about a business when they have a need, and they always remember the name that they hear, the one that is most relevant in their mind. Advertising makes your business relevant and part of the community. Your business can be part of the Mariners broadcast each day or each inning of every game this summer by signing up now. Any business that signs up now to advertise with the Mariners gets up to 300 free scheduled magnets. Call iFIBER ONE News Radio today at 360-426-1030 and sign up to be part of the Mariners broadcast team.
iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
8:26 at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Good morning to you. I'm just like you, along with Carol Gardner. Carol, we remember the story about Chai, the Asian elephant who was up at The zoo, Woodland Park Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chai passed away a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. Well, the results have been released. Chai was a 37-year-old Asian elephant who was transferred from Seattle to Oklahoma. Likely died to an abnormality in her teeth that prevented her from chewing food properly. This congenital abnormality on the surface of her molars reduced the ability to extract caloric content from food. So a likely genetic problem there. People have filed suit with the zoo down there in Oklahoma saying that they didn't have the proper facilities to maintain and care for these elephants and stuff like that. But it sounds like if this is what the ME, the medical examiner, decides on, then they really have nothing to do with that.
Yeah, but didn't they know this before they sent it off?
So the elephant was 37 years old, and they just figured this out.
Yeah.
That is a bit strange, too. Good point. Didn't think about that one. Looks like there could be another hat in the gubernatorial race. Last week, when I was out, you and Dale talked with Republican candidate Bill Bryant on the show. He came in, talked about his candidacy. Well, the governor is also running for re-election. But now the superintendent of public instruction, Randy Dorn, says he's going to decide in the next month or so whether or not he's going to run an independent campaign for Washington governor. He says more leadership is needed to fix the education system, which he's been working very hard on. He's been twice elected as the school's state superintendent. And he doesn't think that it's going to take a lot of money to launch a campaign.
Well, he's known, so it's going to be a little bit better for him. I mean, have we had an independent that's been known, so well known, run
for a potential governor's race? I am not familiar of the history of Washington politics when it comes to that, but it does take a lot of money to launch these things, even just in a state.
It does, but maybe he has a plan. I mean, maybe he has it all planned out. Maybe he has a big support group. Don't know.
Yeah.
Or he's going to get a real case of reality come in the next couple of months.
Take a political economy class. 8:30 just about coming up at iFIBER ONE News Radio. The morning stock numbers are coming up. A train derailed in Okanagan County yesterday. 5 of the 52 cars derailed near Riverside. Just after it started its journey, it was only going about 10 miles an hour, and then it appeared that the ground liquefied under the train, scary, carrying calcium carbonate, which is a non-hazardous neutral stone, white, insoluble, and you see it, chalk, limestone, marble, calcite, mollusk shells, and stony corals is where you can find calcium carbonate, so not a big problem.
Right, but the ground liquefied?
That's the problem.
Did it go over a, what do you call those? The
quicksand?
Yeah, sinkhole type thing, quicksand.
I don't know.
Strange.
Especially for not even going that fast.
That's true. Maybe it was the Loch Ness Monster surfacing in the wrong spot.
We've got the morning stock numbers on the phone line right now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Karen Shade from Edward Jones.
Yes.
How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good.
Good.
I am. Heard some large bangs across the street, so I don't know what's going on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Interesting. It's always interesting in the neighborhood.
Head out there and be our roving reporter.
I will.
What's going on with Wall Street?
Well, U.S. stocks are trending lower as a slide in oil prices drag down energy stocks, and as investors look forward to the result from the Federal Reserve's meeting later this week. In economic news, retail sales dipped 0.1% in February, but a sharp downward revision to January sales may reignite concerns about the economy's growth prospects. U.S. bond prices are edging higher in early trading. So far this morning, the S&P 500, the best performing sector is utilities, while the worst performing sector is energy. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 32 points at 17,196. The Standard & Poor's 500 Index is down 9 points at 2,009, and the NASDAQ Composite Index is down 27 points at 4,723. This morning, volume on the New York Stock Exchange is moderate, with 218 million shares being traded, and decliners are outnumbering advancers by roughly 4-to-1 margin. In the commodity markets, the spot price of gold is down $3.03 to $1,232.22. The spot price of silver is down 8 cents to $15.27, and crude oil prices are down $1.01 to $36.17. The 30-year Treasury yield is currently 2.72%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is 1.96%. Stocks of local interest: Amazon is up $1.41, Costco is up $1.39, Boeing is down 95 cents, Starbucks is up 11 cents, and Microsoft is up 22 cents. This is Karen Shade of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. I'm located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3 in Shelton, and if you'd like additional information, you can contact me at 426-4590, and daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
All right, Karen, thank you much.
You're welcome.
8:32 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio, and the latest in local news from Mary Lynn Foster is coming up next. It's brought to you right now by Fred Holmes Tree Service.
From the iFIBER ONE News Radio studios, I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Last week, we learned that a state-of-the-art Sierra Pacific Industries sawmill could be running earlier than expected. Initially, they were hoping to get it done in mid-2017, and now it looks like first quarter 2017 is very doable. Mason County Economic Development Council Director Lynn Longan and Lisa Perry from Sierra Pacific Industries told Daybreak why the operation is ahead of schedule.
I think everybody's been working hard to get this done. We've been working with Lynn at the EDC. We've been working with the Chamber. The city's been really good.
Senator Sheldon and I arranged a meeting with the Department of Ecology, and we brought in the Governor's Office of Regulatory Assistance and Innovation. And since then, they've appointed a person to Sierra Pacific. So made the connections in the beginning to hopefully help them keep moving. And again, they've got a representative from the Governor's Office that helps them.
Yeah, and we all knew each other from the beginning, all the regulators, all the everyone. We're working with, 8 different agencies and 16 different permits, so it's been a lot of work, but everybody wants to get those jobs back in this community, and everybody wants to do it right.
This would be SPI's 4th mill in Washington, and they've also announced that Shelton will be home for a truck and a fabrication shop as well, which will add more employees to their totals of close to 200. Hear more in the full interview on the Daybreak page at iFiber1newsradio.com. Hagen and Albertsons announced yesterday that of the 29 remaining Hagen stores, 15 will remain that brand, while the other 14 will be converted to the Albertsons brand. In the South Sound, one Olympia and one Auburn store will remain as Hagen, while the Lakewood and second Olympia store will be Albertsons. They say the conversion of stores to Albertsons will be done over time. A reminder from the Washington State Department of Revenue, businesses and consumers can expect to see bumps in their sales tax rates on purchases starting Friday, February 1st. In Shelton, a new transportation benefit district will add 0.2% in sales tax, bringing the rate here to 8.8%. The tax is expected to bring in $400,000 in revenues annually to fund transportation improvements. All across Washington state, Democrats will come together on March 26th to caucus for their preferred presidential candidate, Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, or even declare they're undecided. Washington state's allocation of 119 delegates and 7 alternates will go to the National Convention in Philadelphia on July 25th. Voting is limited to registered voters who declare themselves to be Democrats and those who will be eligible to vote in the general election on November 8th. Learn more on the political page at iFiber1newsradio.com. For iFIBER ONE News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3, I'm Mary Lynn Foster.
Hi, I'm Ken Slater, the Roof Doctor. If you're like me, your family's important, so make sure that they're well taken care of. One of the best ways to do that is to provide a safe and warm home to live in. For over 50 years, the Roof Doctor has been helping families stay safe and warm by building roofs that last for generations. Our teams have some of the most experienced roofers in the area, and we only use the highest quality materials to keep your family safe, warm, and dry. That's the Roof Doctor. Give us a call.
The Chad Benson Show.
How in the world are you going to pay for all that you want to do? And you can only tax people to a certain point, People who are smart, guess what? They get sick and tired of it, and they find other ways to do stuff. All of a sudden, you go from having a certain percentage of something to 100% of nothing.
The Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, live weekdays, 3 to 6 on iFIBER ONE Newsradio.
Piece of cake for the Warriors star. Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Packer reporting on sports. Steph Curry celebrated his 28th birthday in fitting fashion.
Up fake, goes to Curry, fadeaway three. Why not?
Tim Roy on KNBR as Curry's 27 points led the Warriors to an easy win over the Pelicans, a record 49th straight regular season home victory. In Toronto, the Raptors can't seem to figure out the Bulls.
Taking away left block, the kick out McDermott, left wing three, yes!
On WMVP, Doug McDermott scored 29 points off the bench as the Bulls beat the Raptors for the 9th straight time. Mirza Teletovic hit a three with 1.2 seconds left to lift the Suns over the Timberwolves. Russell Westbrook posted a triple-double in the Thunder's win. The Jazz took down the Cavs, and the Rockets clobbered a depleted Grizzlies squad 130-81. In college, play-in games will kick off the big dance. Florida Gulf Coast against Fairleigh Dickinson, while Vanderbilt goes head-to-head with Wichita State. Kentucky head coach John Calipari has taken issue with the bracket, criticizing the process after the Wildcats were seated lower than Texas A&M, a team they beat that day for the SEC title. Kentucky Athletic Director Mitch Barnhart is echoing those frustrations, calling for more NCAA transparency. In women's college hoops, UConn earned the first overall seed in the tournament. The undefeated Huskies are hoping to claim a record 4th consecutive championship. Rounding out the number 1 seeds were South Carolina, Notre Dame, and Baylor. Turning to football, the NFL has made a surprising admission.
It came during a congressional committee's roundtable discussion about concussions in sports. Illinois Representative Jan Schakowsky asked NFL Senior Vice President Jeff Miller if there was a link between the sport and the disease CTE.
Well, certainly Dr. McKee's research shows that a number of retired NFL players were diagnosed with CTE. So the answer to that question is certainly yes.
It's the first time the league has acknowledged a link. The research found CTE in the brains of 90 former NFLers.
ABC's Richard Cantu, Dave Packer, ABC Sports.
Now, from the all-new Gillis Auto Center Sports Desk, here's Jeff Slinky.
Good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio, 838. We're checking out some sports news with the Mariners in action. Split squad action yesterday. We had the Colorado Rockies game on the radio. King Felix on the mound, 2 1/3, gave up 3. He did strike out 5. Final score 6-4. The other game yesterday was against Arizona, and the Mariners lost that one 8-3. Next Mariners game is tonight against the Dodgers. Pre-game coverage starts at 7. Gonzaga basketball this Thursday night in the NCAA tournament, taking on number 6 seed Seton Hall. We'll have the pregame coverage starting at 6 Thursday night, tip-off at 7. They win that one, they'll take on the winner of the Utah-Fresno State game. NIT is today as well, and this time UW picked as a number 3, and they'll host Long Beach State tonight at 6 in Seattle. And sled dog race champion Dallas Seavey is leading the 2016 race as the Mushers are moving up the Barren Sea coast at the Iditarod. Looking at the Shelton High School varsity sports schedule, we've got opening day for baseball against Yelm, and that's going to be 4 o'clock at the Shelton Baseball Field. Tomorrow, Squim comes to Shelton. Thursday, the start of Fast Pitch against Bremerton. Many of these games, though, could be impacted by the weather this week. Here to check the forecast is Carol Gardner.
Good morning. Scattered rain showers in the South Sound area, but it will decrease as we go through the day. Highs in the upper 40s and the low 50s. There's still a winter weather advisory if you're heading over the pass till about noon. They got a few inches of snow last night, but it's all going to be sort of winding down. And in the whole area, we're going to be improving over the next few days with drier, warmer weather, which means more sunshine and highs in the mid to upper 50s. Right now, it's 41 in Shelton.
Now, from the iFIBER ONE Newsradio studios, it's Daybreak. Providing local news, sports, weather, and interviews to the South Sound's most important people. You. From business leaders to politicians, from activists for change to advocates for the poor. Your neighbors and newsmakers are here on Daybreak.
8:41 here at iFIBER ONE Newsradio, and a good morning to you.
Good morning. On our Facebook page, we have a shared post. The Mason County Forest Festival Royalty Court for 2016 was chosen last weekend. They said it was a great night, and there was a lot of participation. And so there's congratulations that goes to Danelle, Drake, Joseph, Hannah, Brittany, Aaron, and Elizabeth. And you can check out all of those pictures shared on our Facebook page. Also, the Mason County Forest Festival has a Facebook page of their own.
Forest Festival coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little rainy right now, but seeing those pictures of everybody all gussied up, making it looking good for this summer. 8:41 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Bill Dewey from Taylor Shellfish coming in just a couple minutes from right now. We'll talk with him for our environmentally sound segment. Tom Hartman coming up at 9 o'clock. Dave Ramsey today and Chad Benson as we continue through the day. And a big day in politics as many folks across the country will be voting in primaries, including the winner-take-all state of Florida. 99 delegates, and Marco Rubio looking to win his home state. We'll see what happens tonight, as well as John Kasich, the governor of Ohio, is battling it out this morning and throughout the day as well. People will be heading to the polls already in Florida. Some 1.2 million people have early voted. Today's the day they head out to the actual ballot box. So we'll see what happens in the results in the Republican primary. Also, Democrat primaries going on as well today.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
Taylor Shellfish is a proud sponsor of the Environmentally Sound program. For 5 generations, the Taylor family's been stewards of a healthy and prosperous Puget Sound. In partnership with nature, Taylor Shellfish brings you the freshest, most sustainable shellfish you'll ever eat. Visit their store at 136 Southeast Lynch Road. Open daily from 10 to 6, and they're online at TaylorShellfishFarms.com.
Mason County Garbage and Recycling on Johns Prairie here in Shelton is pleased to offer safe and efficient removal services. Mason County Garbage and Recycling is always mindful of environmental standards and is continuously striving for the highest excellence. Mason County Garbage and Recycling, upholding your trust within the community. Questions? Call 426-8729. In Belfair, 275-4590.
This is Kathy. The best way to keep current on local news and issues is by subscribing to the Mason County Journal. The importance of subscribing to the paper hit home when the marijuana businesses started cropping up in local neighborhoods and people called the paper saying they hadn't heard about the zoning changes. I had to inform the callers that this issue had been discussed in the paper for many months, and the best way to know what was happening in their community was to read the local newspaper. As a result, many of them started up a subscription. Call 426-4412 or visit masoncounty.com to start your subscription today.
Gillis Auto Center in Shelton. Best deals, best price, best trade, and low payments. Whether you're looking for a car, truck, hybrid, SUV, or performance car, we have them at the all-new Gillis Auto Center. Just go to Gillis, where low overhead and low sales tax means great savings for you. Family-owned Gillis Auto Center, where you get the lowest price and professional, courteous service. The all-new Gillis Auto Center in Shelton at the City Center Matlock exit and 24/7 at GillisAutoCenter.com.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
.45 here at iFIBER One News Radio. Good morning to you. Jeff Lakey along with Carol Gardner. Carol.
Good morning, Jeff.
Bill Dewey in studio from Taylor Shellfish. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
So this is a pretty interesting article I'm reading on iFIBER1newsradio.com. Taylor Shellfish becomes first in state certified for responsible aquaculture. That was back on March 7th that we put the story out there. And first in the state, that's a pretty big deal.
It's actually first in the country.
First in the country, even better.
Yeah. For this particular, it's a global certification under the Aquaculture Stewardship Council.
Mm-hmm.
And Taylor Shellfish is the first in the United States to be certified under it. So.
Well, that's congratulations.
Yeah, the press release was a little confusing from ASC to where some people interpreted it as first in Washington State, but it's actually first in the country.
That's really great. That's really great. So what does that mean? What does that distinction then give you?
Well, it's a third-party sustainability certification, essentially, but more beyond sustainability as far as the environment, which obviously we're really concerned about. As an industry and as a company, we rely on a healthy, clean environment in which to work. And so we want to ensure that our farming practices aren't adversely impacting that. So this certification holds us to standards around how we work in that natural environment, how we interact with the wild populations, disease and pest management, our resource efficiency, and so on. So there's a series of standards there that monitor our farming practices and the environment. But beyond that, it addresses social issues related to the company and how we're engaged in the local communities and how we work with our workforce and so on. So they're broad standards beyond just the environmental sustainability.
Wow.
And so did you do this with the governor's initiative, the Shellfish Initiative, or did you guys just say this is sort of start it yourselves, this is what we want to do, and the rest of the country's watching? Or?
Yeah, no, it's separate from the governor's Shellfish Initiative, which is another piece of exciting news we can talk about.
Okay.
But the certification is something that tailors have been pursuing. In fact, a number of years ago, because this global certification was not available, we worked with the Food Alliance out of Portland, which is a terrestrial agricultural certifier for sustainability, and got certified through them on all of our farms. And we've been waiting for this ASC to become available. And now that it is, we're working through a process. So right now, it's just 4 of our South Sound growing areas, Oakland Bay, Totten Inlet, Eld Inlet, and Skookum Inlet, that were announced on this March 7th. But we're proceeding through a process to get all of our farms ultimately certified through ASC. So, but yeah, it's a high bar. It's sort of, there are these sustainability certification programs out there. For example, with wild fisheries, the Marine Stewardship Council is well known for certifying wild fisheries. Well, Aquaculture Stewardship Council is their counterpart in the aquaculture world, certifying aquaculture companies similar to the MSC on wild fisheries.
This is a pretty amazing thing to be given to you guys at Taylor Shellfish. And we've talked over the years about the, if it rains too much, and this is all kind of, it seemed to have calmed down over the years. But, if it rains more than 24 hours and you guys were limited into the amount of work you could do, we've seen some help in that, some benefit in that as it's kind of moved on. How are things on a day-to-day or seasonally in Oakland Bay, for example, and around our area, the water?
Well, in Oakland Bay and in the state and Puget Sound in general, water quality around our shellfish growing areas is an area we're having some really good successes. Certainly the community here around Oakland Bay has been tremendous in their response to addressing the water quality issues. We've had some major upgrades around the bay.
Yeah.
We still have some areas that are closed when we have too much rain, but it's gotten way better. We've made some great improvements, and the community should be really proud of that. It's a major accomplishment. But also just the Puget Sound Partnership has a target by 2020 to upgrade 10,800 acres of polluted shellfish beds around the state. And they're well on the way to achieving that. It's one of the few targets they're actually making good success on. And they've got a strategic shellfish initiative within the Puget Sound Partnership to try to achieve that. The governor is also very focused on that under the Shellfish Initiative and under what he calls his Results Washington program to get these shellfish growing areas upgraded. So we've had some really good successes.
So let's talk a little bit about the governor and the Shellfish Initiative for those who might not be familiar with what that is.
Yeah, so back in 2011 at the national level, the Obama administration updated their national aquaculture policies and launched a national shellfish initiative to implement those policies. And at the time, that's back in 2011, we were able to get Governor Gregoire excited about that and launch a Washington State Shellfish Initiative to implement that national initiative. And it included a number of things, including, our industry has really struggled with permitting. It's hard for us to get new farms permitted. There's a lot of process there. It's actually driven our company to do a lot of investment in Canada because of the challenge of getting new farms sited here. So the governor, that was part of the Shellfish Initiative, is let's try to fix this permitting problem. but also it included water quality in shellfish growing areas, shellfish restoration. Under that initiative, there's a great new restoration hatchery built up at NOAA's facility up in Manchester, a hatchery to produce native oysters and abalone to restore native stocks of shellfish, and shellfish research, all these good things, all things shellfish related. And so Governor Inslee wanted to, we've accomplished many of the things that Gregoire lined out. Governor Inslee felt it was a good initiative and wanted to launch a second phase of it. So now there's a whole new suite of activities that he announced on January 15th, and also very excitingly proclaimed June 4th to 11th as Washington Shellfish Week. And so now we're working with a bunch of partners. Washington Sea Grant is helping us, and we're coordinating a whole bunch of activities around the state to really highlight shellfish, both aquaculture and recreational resources, tribal resources, and so on during that week. So it'll be fun to see what all comes together. I've been on a planning committee there, and just some of the activities they're talking about. It's going to be a great week.
So we are talking with Bill Dewey from Taylor Shellfish, and again, we're learning a little bit more about what it means to become the first in the country certified for responsible aquaculture. You can learn more about that on our website at iFIBER1newsradio.com. It was a March 7th story, and we can relink that to the website. Otherwise, Taylor Shellfish doing great in the community and still going strong?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, we're growing our production, even though we're challenged to get new farms permitted. We're doing better on our existing farms, growing our production. I think, besides our restaurant here in Shelton, Sin's Clam and Oyster House that many people are familiar with, we have 3 oyster bars in downtown Seattle now that we've opened up in the last few years.
Wow.
We're going to be opening a new one in Bellevue later this summer and another one up in Vancouver, BC this year as well.
I was just watching a cooking TV show, and I think they were up in Bellingham or whatever, and the guy pulled out a big box of Taylor Shellfish oysters. Sure did, trying them. It was really good.
We produced a lot of great oysters.
Yeah. Bill Dewey, thanks so much for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
It's 8:52 at iFIBER One News Radio. Take a quick break. When we come back, get ready to wrap the show up here on a Tuesday. Tell you who's coming on tomorrow, and a whole lot more to come on Daybreak.
Listening to Daybreak on iFIBER One News Radio.
One of the world's most popular songs just became legal to sing publicly. We have details today on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, March 15th, the 75th day of the year. Beach Boys singer Mike Love has a birthday, and it's Statehood Day in Maine. The Pine Tree State joined the Union on this day in 1820. The most frequently sung song in the world is Happy Birthday to You. But until recently, public performances of the song have been technically illegal if you haven't paid a licensing fee to the publisher. Movies, television programs, even servers at restaurants have steered clear in fear of legal culpability. But earlier this year, a court ruled against Warner Chappell Music, the company that claimed rights to the song. It's now in the public domain, and you can legally sing Happy Birthday to your heart's content. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Find more fun facts online at almanac.com.
iFIBER One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
Good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at iFIBER One News Radio, 8:54. Coming up tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll talk with 35th District Representative Drew McEwen. We had a chance to talk with Dan Griffey this morning about the extended legislative session. Basically, the budget negotiators are the ones who are in Olympia. The House Dem, the House Republican, Senate Dem, Senate Republican, they kind of gather there. And it makes a lot of sense. Otherwise, you got everybody else thinking they're the ones in the majority or the ones who are in the leadership position saying, don't forget me, this. So hopefully they'll get things done, and we'll get them out of there so they can start doing whatever they need to do. So Drew McEwen tomorrow. Car and Leaf also at 7:45. The first team meeting for Relay for Life is Thursday night at the Shelton Civic Center. So bring your friends and stay for some food and information about the upcoming relay. And Transit Talk tomorrow at 8:15 as well. Continuing on through the week, Sports Director Sean Wells coming in Thursday at 8:15, and he is excited about that because we're going to have to fill out a bracket, I think, Carol. Have you ever filled out a March Madness bracket before?
I have not, but I was cracking up at the term that Sean used, brachologist. So I guess that's an expert.
It's like a bud tender.
Yeah, it's a bud tender. It's an expert. We might have to tip Sean just to give us some hints on how to
Sean will be in, and we'll talk because Thursday at 9 a.m. is the first game for March Madness. I mean, it goes and it gets hot and heavy. So we'll see where he's at with his brackets and how quick they get busted. National Nutrition Month Thursday, Jeannie Raywalt comes in to talk with us about how the nutrition is going in the schools, what the kids are eating, and how nutritious it is, I should say. Still coming up with National Nutrition Month, Terry Shaw from the Senior Center will be bringing in someone from the Senior Services of South Sound to talk about the nutrition that seniors get at the center. And we're going to wrap up the month of March on the end of March 31st, to talk about nutrition that your pet can. I was so scared because we took Simon to get his teeth cleaned on Saturday or Sunday. So it's a very nerve-wracking experience.
Did they have to put him under?
Yeah. So they knock him out. So I had to drop. So he couldn't eat any food after 8 o'clock the night before. No food, no water. And we are early risers, so we're up Sunday morning, and he's sitting there with his puppy dog eyes, staring at me, looking at his dog dish, looking at me. And I have to wait to take him in, 8 o'clock finally. And so I drop him off, and he's shaking, because it's nervous. He knows where he's at, the vet. And pick him up about 4, and he is groggy. Man, it was hard. I had to carry him up the stairs. I probably didn't have to carry him up the stairs, but he's one of my little babies.
Yeah, I know. Every time I take my cat to the vet, they're like, "You should really get those teeth cleaned."
Yeah, we sure should.
And I'm like, "Yeah, after 16 years, it's probably not going to happen
Too
now."
late now.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, though, so this happened Sunday. So late last night, I finally lifted up his jowls to see, poof, clean as a whistle. And his breath smells great.
Yeah, well, dog's breath is a lot different than cat's breath.
Well, apparently a lot of it had to do with what was stuck on his teeth. So anyways, that was a scary, as anybody going through any sort of general anesthetic knows, you're just so out of it because Simon can't talk to them. He can't go, something is not right.
I know. That's the hard part about animals. You don't know what they're thinking.
It's very nerve-wracking. 8:59 here at iFIBER ONE News Radio. Hope you had a wonderful morning. We do encourage and we do thank you to be joining with us. A reminder, the Better Business Bureau sent us a press release yesterday saying that with these big storms that we had, if stuff happened to your house, people may come up and claim to be contractors saying, "Hey, let me fix that for you. Blah, 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 let me have some money." And these high-pressure door-to-door sales techniques, people often may not have the registration, the training, the licensing. So check it out. And before you make any decisions, you sign anything, try to do a little research. See if you can find if they've done a job somewhere else locally, close. If you do decide to pick a person, at least don't pay totally up front.
Right.
Half, maybe, is also a security deposit, and then half at the end when it's all completed. But, we've heard about this with Deb Riley from Public Health when it comes to the septic areas. People will come on and they'll try to clean things up, and they're not licensed or bonded or properly trained, and then your stuff kind of gets messed up. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFIBER ONE News Radio.
The Chad Benson Show, live weekdays from 3 to 6 on iFIBER ONE News Radio, AM 1030 and FM 1033, KMAS Shelton.
Here's the latest from ABC News, I'm Daria Aldinger. It is Super Tuesday, round 3. The polls open in 5 states today. The big prizes for the Republicans.